and Big Ten teams are maybe losing twice and still making it in. They may not even be able to lose one time.
Rob, sir.
BYU is so much fun. They're not as good as Georgia. They're more fun than Georgia, and they had to win that game, and they did it. I will say that Georgia beating Texas was of today's consequential victory. I mean, that, it's great to win. You go on the road.
So, Rob, there is a on the ball rule in the thing. Did you read it in the comments? I'll read it to you.
I mean, he said. I mean, it's not. I mean, it still doesn't. That doesn't mean that.
I understand. Tony Kornheiser. Those two I just watched. Pardon the interruption. Tony Kornheiser just thought it was a foul. Michael Wilbon didn't.
I just watched him.
So here's the thing. I don't know. Nobody's on our show yet. Got 0? Okay. I mean, so there's people, it'll notify people. Even with that rule, nothing is different than what I said today. If my hand goes on the other person's hand as they're shooting, to me, that's a foul.
Right.
Now it's a question of how much of the hand do I get and how much of the ball do I get? I still think it comes down to that, because even with that rule, it's very vague. It doesn't even tell you. It doesn't even give you a guideline. Like it should say, if he gets 75% ball and 25% hand, that should be a block.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
it tells you nothing, because what if it's your hand is over the other person's hand and just your thumb is touching the ball? You can say that's not a foul.
That rule that he put in, this still does not determine that the hand is part of the ball. It still does not say, otherwise it would specify that. So it does not still.
But it doesn't tell me anything because it's too vague.
Yeah, it doesn't say that the rule is hand is part of the ball. Because I've heard that. Like I said, when I played pickup ball, they always say that crap. Hand is not part of the ball. It's a foul. you fouled me. It's a foul. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
The Lou Alcindor thing, the varsity and the freshmen had a formal scrimmage, and the freshmen won by 15, and Jabbar had 35 points and 21 rebounds. I looked it up on Google, but I have a feeling they scrimmaged dozens of times that year.
Yeah, of course they did.
And did they beat him more than 50% of the time? Is my question. After they figured out how to guard Kareem.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? Like, did they start winning after that? They didn't win the national championship that year.
No.
When he was a freshman.
No.
They won it the 2 years before that. The AT-TEP won it. So, anyway.
I mean, it's a foul. I mean, I don't know what Wilbon was talking about. I mean, no hand part of the ball.
Wilbon always has a bias, and
it's so stupid. It's so to me, it's really dumb. It's a dumb thing to even say.
If Chicago was New York, he'd be saying it wasn't a foul. He's already proved to me that he's biased. When I saw him, start leaning towards Chicago Sky.
Yeah.
And he stopped talking about Caitlin Clark when she went to Indiana instead of Chicago after she got out of college.
Right.
And he didn't think she'd be on the Olympic team, and everybody like Tony Kornheiser and Frank both said that he thought she'd be on the team.
Right.
And I just think if she was a black player playing for Chicago Sky, there's zero, and I'm saying it's part race, part the homerism that you talked about. There was zero chance that he would say, "Oh, she shouldn't be on the Olympic team."
Right.
Zero chance in my mind.
Right.
And he sometimes loses objectivity, and I think this is one of them.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Bobby? Yeah. Well, the only person that figured out how to guard Kareem was Nate Thurmond. That was his toughest.
Nate Thurmond was an excellent. Well, I think Wilt did a fine job too. He was,
But I mean,
Nate Thurmond was an excellent defender.
Yeah. He's the only one that really could guard Kareem or even Wilt. He was the only one. He doesn't get that much notoriety, but Nate Thurmond was a great defender of the centers.
Right. So anyway, in college they couldn't figure out. All they did, they instituted a no dunk rule because of Kareem.
Right. I remember that. I do. I remember that.
Actually, John Wooden Hi, Bobby. Did not like the dunk rule. He thought he should make it illegal. He goes, yeah, it's not basketball. It's not a skill. It's not shooting, basically. But he was stubborn. John Wooden wouldn't call timeouts. He rarely called timeouts.
Yeah,
and they lost the game when Bill Walton was playing because he wouldn't call a timeout. I think it was against Notre Dame, one of the games they lost. He goes, we were begging for a timeout.
Right.
And John Wooden got one call come because he said that showed weakness. Yeah, it shows weakness, but it also stops the momentum. It's like you've got to offset one. You got to give up something to gain something else. And that's the problem with John Wooden. He got too stubborn about that. And, he's not a perfect coach.
Is your mic in? Is your mic in?
It's plugged in. Yeah, why, you can't hear me?
No, now it's plugged in.
Must have got sometimes it gets a little loose by here. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's plugged in because it sounded like you were. Now it's plugged in. Now you sound better. Okay.
Right. Okay. Bobby, you have any problem finding the forecast? Hey, Scottish.
What's up, Scottish John Jason?
Yeah, I didn't even notice she had a New York skyline outfit. Kathy Engelbert or something.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that either.
I just noticed she had an outfit on. They showed her quickly, and I just ignore her because I think she's a dinglebat.
Yeah, she's a horrible commissioner. Like, who cares? Like, yeah.
So.
But that's not the reason why they lost the game. I mean, that's not the reason. Neither was a false shot.
Yeah, I didn't watch all 5 games, so I can't tell you which team got the benefit of the refs. But like I said, Wilbon just said New York did. My brother said in the third quarter, New York got the benefit of the calls when they were coming back. He said they were fouling Connecticut and they weren't getting calls. I mean,
you mean not Connecticut? You mean,
New York. Yeah, New York was fouling Connecticut.
Oh, you're not talking about the finals. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the finals. My brother watched the finals. He watched the whole game.
They didn't play Connecticut. They played
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Okay. In the third quarter, he said, when New York was coming back, he watched the third quarter. I only watched the fourth quarter and the overtime. Uh-huh. He said when they were coming back, New York got the benefit of the calls in the third quarter. They were fouling, and they weren't getting Minnesota was not getting the calls. But I don't know. There was 5 games. There was one game where the New York coach got off and said, we didn't get a call all game.
Right. I mean, yeah.
That's what they lost that game, too.
Well, that's why I'm laughing, Mark. I'm like, oh, now they're complaining about the refs? Really?
Yeah. Give me one game that the Indiana Fever got the benefit of the calls. Give me one game out of 42. I counted 0. 3 quarters of the time, they got the short end of the stick. The other quarter, maybe broke even. Caitlin Clark never got the benefit of the calls in all 42 games. So I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. The referees don't even start with me. Like, really? Oh, come on.
Until they start giving Caitlin Clark some calls, I'm not even going to listen to fucking complaints about refs.
Yeah. You swore on our site. My gosh.
I effing. Hey, going to be real interesting what is going to get with the new CBA after they opted out today. Really? I didn't see that in the news. I was answering questions and doing the editing, going shopping. What, they opted out?
Wow.
I never understand when they opt out. Then the owners lock them out, and I go, why did they lock them out for? They just opted out. They locked themselves out. I never understood that.
Well, we're going to lock you out.
They just said we're on strike. You can't lock them on strike.
Well, yeah. Well, we're going to lock you out. Like, well,
I never understood that. Someone's got to explain that to me. I never understood it. Really? Okay, let me look.
Wow. Yeah, check that out. Thanks, Lord Schaefer.
What does opt out mean? That means they're not signing the new one? Is that all it means? I'm not even sure what it means sometimes. Number 4 for next year.
Ranked 4th next year.
How do they know? How do you rank them before they sign the free agents? That's so stupid. ESPN just wants something to write about. They did that college rankings preseason for next year. And they did it even before all the top recruits had decided where they were going. And now all of a sudden UConn went from 5, and we said that's a joke, and now they're up to like 2 or 3. So I don't even know.
Rankings. That's college football how rankings. That's Alabama how the rankings are.
Let me see. Is this? Shouldn't this be in WNBA news on ESPN? Nike, NBA, WNBA, 12-year extension. I mean, opt out of CBA. It says, it's in here. Mm-hmm. Liberty's on odds favorite for
to win again. I'm like, how do you know?
Again, there's free agency still to be determined. How can you do that?
Know. I know they always do that after the season. Oh, they're right. They're going to win. I'm like, how do you?
So
know?
my brother also thought that Jonquel Jones gets away with too much charging, like she backs into the person and gets away with too much.
Yeah, well, that's the refs call. Like I said, they're going to keep. She's going
That's
to keep on
probably
doing it.
true. My brother's reasonable. He knows basketball.
Yeah, that's until they're going to call it. She can keep on doing it.
Well, he did. She finally got called in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that one time.
The opt-out was expected. I know. I know it was expected. Let me just see what it says in the article while you guys, Rob, you can talk all you want.
Sabrina celebrating her 1 for 19. Yeah, I think she had a cramp during the photo op. She cramped up. Like, you think your arm cramped up there, Sabrina?
Yeah, so they have until the end of the 2025 season, Rob. So they have almost a whole year to negotiate.
Yeah.
So it just means they didn't renew it. I think that's all it means. They didn't renew this. Why would they renew this one if they got a new television deal?
Yeah, Jaquel plays like, I wish she would play like that.
Oh, they want a business model that reflects their true value. They lost $40 million. Your true value is negative 40.
Yeah.
Okay. 40 million divided by 144. Let me figure that out. That's your true value.
Hey, Van Dam. I'm messing with you, Vadim. How you doing, Vadim?
wait. Let me multiply. Let me divide that out, Rob. 40.
The hate offs. You didn't watch the hate offs after CC got bounced, Vadim?
Okay, Rob, here's their true value. I took 40 million and divided by 144. Their true value is negative 277,000. That's their true value.
Now, if I'm the NBA, I'm going, wait a minute. Why am I supporting you?
They want true value encompassing higher salaries, enhanced professional working conditions, expanded health benefits, and crucial investments needed for long-term growth. They're not going to get any of that. They lost 40 million this year.
Yeah, forget that. I'm not giving you that. What business person would do that? We want more of this. Sure.
They had until November 1st to opt out of the current deal. Well, wait, were we? Okay. Which was set to expire in 2027. What? This makes no sense. Set to expire in 2027, but still be in effect till 2025. In other words, they didn't opt out, then the same deal would have held until 2027. Oh, so all this means is they're not going to continue with the same contract between 2025 and 2027. They're not going to renew it for 2 more years. That's all this means. It doesn't really mean very much.
Yeah, the owners are except after now they let the WNBA office coaches and the affiliated media gate keep all season. Yeah. Now the owners are upset.
Citing higher television ratings, attendance figures, and franchise values, the union said it's time for the right negotiation. I'm sorry. So the time is right for renegotiation with the leagues and the owners. The league also recently entered into a historic 11-year media deal with Disney, blah, 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 for $200 million. I thought it was $220 million, but okay. Of course, no mention of Caitlin Clark.
No. Yeah, Scott's Jason. I'd rather have that revenue sharing rather than profit sharing. The company I want to invest in. Yeah.
Well, they don't understand that the NBA players it's not off revenue, it's off profit. They don't understand that, Rob. They don't get that. So, anyways, what's going on, everyone? Hey, Vadim, Lord Schaefer. Everything said, Scott. Boxing Bulldogs here.
All right. Hey, Boxing Bulldogs.
Everybody's always asking about you, Rob, so you're here. So take over the mic, Rob.
I'm here. I got a Monday. They gave me a Monday off. Can you believe it? I got a Monday off.
Rob's all depressed. His Mets are out of the World Series.
No, you know what? I'm not depressed. Really, I'm not depressed. They had a great season. I didn't think they'd get this far.
Oh, really? Yeah, but
they
had a shot.
They beat the teams.
Hot.
They beat the teams.
I think they were a bit depressed. They were hot, Rob. So they had a shot.
No, they can't be depressed. They played well. That's all you can do is play well.
What's funny is because the best team the team with the best record in the National League and the best team with the best record in the American League are meeting in the World Series, and that doesn't happen very often anymore.
Right.
It hasn't happened in years. Alonso, stay or go, Rob?
I want him to stay. They're gonna get rid of Winkler because his contract is 1 year for $2 million. So Winkler's gone. So that's what they're trying to get Soto. That's what they're trying to do.
She never.
Oh, you can't see. Well, of course, what I love New York, man. I'm from New Yorker.
All right.
I love New York. Where's my Knicks hat? I'm ready for basketball season now. I'm switching. I've already switched over. That's how Americans are, man. I'm in basketball mode. Let's go Knicks. Go New York.
Where's your Cleveland Browns shirt?
I think I've burned that somewhere. It's somewhere in the garbage right now.
Oh God.
That gives me rash if I put that on. Yeah, they're gonna keep Alonso.
Well, all right. So even the Mets lost. Who do you think is going to win between the Yankees and the Dodgers, Rob?
Well, I hate the Yankees, so I want the Dodgers.
Yeah, but who do you think is going to win? Like, if you had to pick,
Dodgers. Dodgers, yeah, Dodgers are going to win, Vadim. I think so. They got a better team. The Mets swept them. Somebody said, "Oh, well, they got injuries." I go, well, the Mets swept the Subway Series, beat them in New York, and beat them in Yankees.
Well, the Mets didn't do their job for a Subway Series.
Yeah, Ohtani. I know Ohtani's. No one's. I can't believe that ESPN doesn't talk more about Ohtani. That guy's freaking an animal.
Hey,
he's wild.
You watched both games, Lord Schaefer? I didn't see the Lions game. I was in a Packers bar watching the Packers game.
When did they play? When the Lions and Green Bay play?
They play in a couple weeks. They have to play twice. Let me see.
That's why, Vadim. It doesn't fit Disney's agenda.
NFL.
Well, one he's foreign, one he's Japanese. Yeah, he's Japanese.
Well, Green Bay has played Minnesota, but hasn't played the Lions yet. So
they played the Vikings twice already?
Who, Green Bay?
Yeah.
No, they played them once. They lost to the Eagles and the Vikings.
Oh, okay. They played them once.
No, they play the Lions in 2 weeks. On the 3rd. The day before I leave for vacation. So I'll probably watch that game and go to sleep. I got to get up the next morning for my flight. It's at 4:25. Jaguars next week. So they should be 6-2 going into that game. They don't choke against the Jaguars.
Yeah, Bobby, the WNBA, with the next 10 years, I think this year was the year that they should have started things going with Caitlin Clark, but they didn't take advantage of that. We'll see when Paige comes in what they'll do. And you're right, Vadim. ESPN is not a sports channel anymore. It's not. That's a joke.
What time's the Baltimore game start today? Oh, 8. Oh, not till 8:15. Okay, they're not starting a game early.
Yeah.
They're starting at 8:15 and 9 tonight. Okay. Right. So all right, that won't interfere with our show. I'm definitely watching Baltimore Tampa Bay. So I'm gonna watch that tonight.
I might watch it. I got 3 straight days off. I might just relax.
I got Baker Mayfield versus Baltimore with 2 exciting runners on Baltimore.
I got my Baker Mayfield. Maybe I'll put that Browns jersey on. I have that one.
Oh, he was on the Browns, right?
Yes, he was.
And they let him go?
Yeah, because he wasn't that good, they said.
Yeah, that's because they're a lousy organization.
No, I don't know that lousy. It's just that they had the wrong people.
Well, he's obviously has talent, or he wouldn't be succeeding where he is now.
Well, he ain't won no championship yet. So
well, I understand.
He ain't won
he can obviously play, Rob. He's obviously
he can play. Yeah,
we're quarterback. Let's put it that way.
He's got better receivers. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's shown he should start in this league.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he's up there now. I'll give him. I liked Baker. I didn't hate him.
I'm not saying he's a top 5 quarterback, but he's shown he should start in this league.
No, I liked Baker. That's why I got his uniform. I liked his enthusiasm. I liked the way didn't like his interceptions, but I liked the way he played. He played hard.
We have Lord Schaefer is going to have the Baltimore game in the main screen and rooting for my Chargers on the laptop. Okay. The
Whoa.
Packers shut down C.J. Stroud last night. I was impressed. I thought he was really good, but he didn't look good last night. But I don't know if it was the Packers D or he had an off game or both. But he had 86 passing yards and he had a decent number of attempts too.
Boxing and Bulldogs. That was the worst. I already mentioned it in our video. That was the worst game, worst officiated. It was a horrible.
How can you say it's the worst officiated game ever when every WNBA game is the worst officiated game ever?
Every WNBA game is the worst.
How many games were there this year in the league? How many like a couple thousand? Those are the couple thousands of the worst officiated ones.
Yeah, 49ers are in trouble. They lost 2 of their receivers.
Yeah, Green Bay got some pressure on him, and that's why he didn't. Let me just say, I even took a decent number of throws, but their running game was good against the Packers. Unfortunately, the running game was good. They're gonna have to shut down the run better next time.
I got Green Bay on my fantasy defense. They got 6 points.
Well, they got 17 turnovers this year, but none yesterday.
What's my take on Deshaun? I think it sucks. I think it was freaking stupid. What idiot fans cheering for someone who got hurt. You can dislike the way Deshaun Watson and his whole situation and things like that, and how he's playing. And this year, the O-line sucks for the Browns, so it's not his fault. Actually, he was playing well until he got hurt. He was playing well yesterday until he got hurt. But to boo him and cheer that someone's got hurt, you're a sick individual. You really are. I'm glad the players called him out. I'm glad they called him out.
Would they boo Rob?
The Browns fans, they booed him when he got hurt. He's got a Achilles tendon. He ruptured his Achilles tendon.
Deshaun Watson, they booed him?
Yeah, they booed and then they cheered when he was hurt. They cheered when he got hurt.
Well, I don't cheer injuries. No. I never cheer injuries for any player, even ones I hate.
Yeah,
I cheer them to do poorly if I don't like them. That's it.
Yeah, like throw an interception or something like that, or throw it away. But you have a bad game, but don't. That's why Cleveland lost. That's why it's a suck ass sports town. The Cavaliers, the Guardians choked. The Cavaliers aren't going to do anything this year.
So CC did not go to Game 5, said Scott, and taken away from the limelight. If only every player was that class. I don't know if that's the reason she didn't go, but maybe.
I'm tired of Spike Lee. Spike Lee goes, get out. You're over in Brooklyn. Make up your mind.
Is there any person on this planet who wants attention more than Spike Lee, besides maybe Angel Reese? They should get together.
Yeah, Spike Lee, go away. Stay with
the
Knicks. Stay with the Knicks.
On a date trying to outdo each other, who gets more attention?
Yeah, stay with the Knicks. If you're going to just do that, stay with the Knicks. He's going to be at the Yankee game. He's a Yankee fan. So if the Mets won, he'd be at the Mets game. It's okay. You're in New York, but I'm sorry. When you're in New York, either you're a Mets fan or Yankee fans. I don't want the Yankees to win. Most Mets fans don't want the Yankees to win because.
Rob, you picked Tampa Bay tonight. That's right.
Yeah. The Yankee fan. Most Mets fans don't like Yankee fans because they're obnoxious. So you got to pick one team or the other if you're in New York.
I think the threat of Lamar Jackson running made Derrick Henry a better runner this year. He seems to have gotten. They weren't
giving him the ball. They were the first 2 games they weren't giving Derrick Henry the ball. I was like, what? Why did you even get this guy?
Look, that made no sense. Obviously, Michael Wilbon thought he was a genius for criticizing him for that when it was obvious criticism, and I don't understand it. But I will say, his numbers went down the last couple of years, but they're back up this year, and that's because I think Lamar Jackson's a threat to run too, and I think that opens things up for him.
Yeah,
maybe he just wasn't healthy the last couple of years.
Yeah, but that's why you got him. He's a running back. Give him the ball.
You thought he was washed up, then why would you why'd you get him in the first place? And I didn't understand it either, Rob.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
But I don't think I'm a genius for figuring it out.
Right. Yeah, I don't think, Angel was taking pictures with the Liberty and wore Lynx and Liberty jerseys. Doesn't she play for the Sky?
Right. So, point taken, Rob, here. So, he hit his peak in 2020 when he averaged 5.4 yards a carry, and he averaged 2,027 yards with 17 touchdowns.
Right.
That was 4 years ago. The next year was 4.3 yards a carry, then 4.4, then 4.2. As you can see, he lost a yard 3 years in a row almost. even though he did gain 1,500 yards in 2022 and had 13 touchdowns. But last year was not a good year compared to what he was in 2020. But this year he's averaging 5.9 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's
the best of his career.
Isn't he leading the league in the yards? He's leading next year, right?
I don't know. Let me look it up. He has 8 touchdowns too already, and he's 7-4. I don't know if he does or not. I don't like when someone leads the league in yards. I go, okay, but what's his average yards per carry? Sometimes they get a lot more carries. I don't know. Let me look it up. He could be.
I thought he was leading the league in rushing.
He is. Yeah, Jordan Mason's second and Saquon Barkley's third. Saquon Barkley went crazy yesterday. He averaged 10 yards a carry.
Of course.
Josh Jacobs for Green Bay is fourth.
Mm-hmm.
He has the fourth most, but he's not averaging many. His yards per carry is not as good. It was good yesterday, but right now he's 4.5 yards a carry. We'll take that. I'll take 4.5 yards a carry.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Yeah, I hate the Yankees too. I'm going for the Dodgers. That was my dad's team, the Dodgers. Today's his birth. Today would have been he would have been 94 today. So, but I'm sure he would have been jumping and down and calling me up about his Dodgers. Yeah, my Dodgers. Shut up, Dad.
Angel was taking pictures. Angel never saw a camera she didn't like. Top 5 greatest running backs of all time. You want my answer?
Well, you already know my answer. You know who's number one. Okay.
I'm going to tell you in order because I did a whole video on this. Jim Brown.
Thank you.
Barry Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Gale Sayers.
Mm-hmm.
O.J. Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
And Walter Payton.
I agree.
In that order. And then Eric Dickerson.
I agree.
And I think I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember who was 7th. I think I have Emmitt Smith as 7th or 8th. And I also have LT Lawrence Taylor. He's not a running back. Then I think I have who's the
Adrian Peterson?
Adrian Peterson was in my top 10. He was near like 9 or 10. And Marcus Falk, I think.
Curtis Martin.
No, he was in my top 10.
Tomlinson. Yeah, Tomlinson. What about Tomlinson?
He was up there in the top 10 or 12. I'm just trying to remember the top. I don't remember. I think Emmitt Smith was 7th, and I'm trying to remember the exact order after that. Yeah, Tomlinson. He was up there. He wasn't in my top 7. I think I had Emmitt Smith 7th after Eric Dickerson.
Oh, the Damian Thompson. That's what he said. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they called him LT too. That's right.
Yeah, I know. I was kidding with him.
So Burger's balling up in Europe. That's good. I wonder if she'll stay with the Fever.
Tony Dorsett. I have to go to my video. I have to go to my website. I don't remember the exact order.
Tony Dorsett. Yeah, even though he's a Cowboy, I probably put him in there. I probably put him above. I put him above freaking Emmett.
All right, let me see if I can find it in my notes in my Google Doc. Hang on a second. I did a whole video on that. In fact, Rob, that was my first favorite thing to do was to rank running backs when I was a kid. Yeah, like when I was boarding class, that was my doodling. Rock bands and running backs and quarterbacks. That was my first list that I made. I think that was my Herschel Walker. Yeah.
Boxing Bulldogs. Actually, the ones that Mark had, those are my 5. I like those 5.
Yeah, Earl Campbell's up there. I just don't remember
He's
what
up
number.
there. Herschel Walker
was somewhere between 8th and 12th too.
Yeah, Herschel Walker's not top 5. Neither is Campbell.
Herschel Walker. No, Herschel Walker didn't
make
my top 5.
Campbell Walker. No, they're not top 5.
Herschel Walker was under. He didn't fulfill his promise in the pros.
No,
in my opinion, there was something wrong with his running style that didn't work in the pros. I don't know what it was.
And his campaign style. Oop, did I put that in there?
Someone described it. What was wrong with his running style? And it was a really good description. I can't remember what it was.
Huh. Poor old Campbell on his knees, boy.
Yeah, his problem was
getting hurt. She's getting hurt too much.
All right, Rob. I found it.
All right.
Wait a minute. Oops. I got them video. I want the
Houston ran Earl Campbell too much. They ran him too much.
And he also ran too much style-wise for himself. Yeah. So wait a minute.
Bo Jackson's good, but he wasn't top 5.
Bo Jackson didn't play enough yards. I didn't put him in my list because I didn't think he gained enough yards to put him on the list.
No, he wasn't. No,
he could be number 1 for all I know, but you can't go by that because he didn't run enough yards. So
yeah,
he could have gone down as number 1. He averaged 5.4 yards a carry, but I decided he didn't gain enough yards.
Just think if my Browns if Ernie Davis hadn't died, the Browns' backfield would have been Jim Brown and Ernie Davis.
I know.
They would have. They could have run them either one. Okay, you run this game, and actually, I think Ernie Davis was better. He was better than Jim Brown, even a pass catcher.
The stats people say broke all of Jim Brown, but he didn't really break all his records. Some of his numbers were better than Jim Brown's, and some weren't. You can look it up. In fact, I will look them up for you.
Ernie Davis, I thought. I mean, if he would have just think of I was like, I thought that was a classy move.
Brown had a body that translated well to the pros, Rob.
Yeah, great lacrosse player. He was a great lacrosse player too for Syracuse.
He led the country in lacrosse scoring one year, I think, his junior year or something like
that.
That's
because back then, he had the wooden stick, and you're supposed to cradle, right? He just got it and just knocked people over.
I know, yeah.
That's why they changed the rule. They changed the rules for him because now you have to cradle.
Oh, did they? Okay, let me just see. Not in there. I want to search.
Jim Brown, Eric Dickerson. Interesting. Eric Dickerson, Bobby. Yeah, Eric Dickerson. I got him probably 6.
I do have him 6.
Yeah, Dickerson, I'd have 6. Yeah.
I can't find the script for it. Hang on, I'm going to have to go to the.
Hey, what's up, Basil?
Rob and I are going to do top 50 NBA players of all time in the fall. As soon as Rob.
Of course, Mark, I'm number 1. I'm the number 1, of course.
You're better than Jordan?
Even though I didn't play in the NBA, I'm number 1.
You're better than Jordan?
He couldn't guard me. I could shut down Jordan. My D. I'd shut him down.
Let me see.
We could ask these guys. We're doing a lot of the Caitlin Clark. So you guys want more football videos? Are you guys going to watch it? Because so far our football videos haven't been that much watchable.
I know. Someone said.
You think if we put some more football videos on, is someone going to watch us, or what's going to happen here? We'll ask you. We'll ask you guys. More football videos or what?
I only got 1.3K views. I put this up about 3 years ago. I think. All right, let me see if I can.
Nadeem Bronny, yeah. My Knicks tomorrow against Boston tomorrow. You know what I'm doing tomorrow. Hey, what's up, Jay? You got high peak and counting stats.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan Dickens, he shut down Jordan.
All right, yeah. So Rob, okay, so are you guys ready, Rob? Rob,
for what?
You want my list? The list. I'm trying to answer. Give me a minute to talk here. I'm going to go over my list. I found my video. So number 8 is Adrian Peterson. Number 9, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay.
Number 10 looks like it's Marshall Faulk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Jay, the 49ers are in trouble. They lost they lost 2 good wide receivers.
Number 10 was Marshall Faulk, Rob.
That's about right.
All right.
So go over your top 10. So your top 10.
So Marshall Faulk. Number 9 was
LaDainian Thompson.
LaDainian Thompson. Number 8 was Adrian Peterson. Number 7 was Emmitt Smith. Number 6 was what's his name?
Adrian Peterson.
No.
No. It was. We just said his name.
Oh, no, I forgot his name.
Dickerson.
Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
And then 5 was Walter Payton. 4 was OJ. 3 was Sayers. 2 was Sanders. 1 was Brown. That was my top 10. Number 11 was. Look, it's Charles. Jamal Charles.
Jamal Charles for Kansas City?
Yeah, his numbers were great.
Jamal Charles. No Tony Dorsett, no.
I get there. Yeah, his numbers backed it up, Rob. Jamal Charles. 12 was Joe Perry.
Wow.
Old school.
Jay, Jim Brown, we had number 1, of course. Jim Brown's number 1, always. There's nobody
13,
else.
It looks like 13 is Jim Taylor. 14 is Earl Campbell because he had a short career.
That is Mr. Terrible. Oh, yeah, the Jets. Yeah, they're the Jets.
Right. So 14 was Hugh McElhenny. No, that's 16. What happened to 15? Hang on.
So Boxing Bulldogs asked, did Jamal Charles, did he ever lead the league in rushing?
You look up his stats. I even adjusted the stats based upon the era, Rob, for yards per carry. Because after 2002, the yards per carry went up from 4.0 to 4.2. So I adjusted downwards for people who played after that.
No, basically, we got Sanders. Sanders is third. Is he third or second? We got Sanders at third, right? You got Jim Brown
14th.
I don't know about Emmitt Smith, Jay. 3. I don't know about Emmitt Smith.
He had a great offensive line.
Yeah, my gosh.
I can't find number 15. I think it's
Priest Holmes.
I think it's Lenny Moore was 15th. Let me just see.
He wouldn't use some fantasy. Redeem. He wouldn't use some fantasy money. All right. Please, Mr. Terrible. Are you kidding me? Plumbers and firemen. Yeah, right. Boxing Bulldogs, you're funny. OJ was a killer running back. Yeah, he was Boxing Bulldogs. He was a killer running back.
Who was that?
OJ. Okay, you win the best line of the night, Boxing Bulldogs.
I can't find number 15. It keeps going from 14 to 16.
Yeah, Jay, if only Bo Jackson never got hurt,
Oh, Lenny Moore was 15. Number 16 was Hugh McElhenny.
Where's Paul Hornung?
Yeah, they have a long enough careers.
Mr. Terrible, do you remember Matt Snell?
17 was Steven Van Buren.
The Jets, Mr. Jets fans, Mr. Terrible, remember Matt Snell?
Oops. 18 was. I wish I had a list in front of me. I had to do a video.
Phil McNeil. Oh yeah, Phil McNeil wasn't bad, Mr. Terrible. I'm older. I'm older than you. That's right, Mr. Terrible. I'm a tad older than you. Phil McNeil, he was all right. You're right, Bobby. Oh, Johnny Hector. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, A-Rod got his coach fired. He went 2 for 5. Yeah. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, I used to watch him with Stanford. He was a monster then. And that was a great pickup by the 49ers. I'm sure he was glad he's out of freaking Carolina. I was like, why am I here? Yeah, you're right, Bobby. He really does. He's hard. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's a double threat.
So 18 was Tiki Barber. 19 was Fred Taylor. And 20 looks like 20 was Tony Dorsett.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, Mr. Terrible. That's because they picked up Devontae Smith. Now him and Rodgers are back together again. So that you think they're going to connect now.
21 was Tony Dorsett. So who's number 20?
Adams, not Smith. Oh, yeah. Roger Craig. Roger Craig. I don't know.
I put more emphasis on the running ability as opposed to the passing. Thurman Thomas is number 20.
Marcus Allen. Where's Marcus Allen? That's a good one, Vadim. Marcus Allen.
Yeah, I think he was like his yards per carry average bothered me. It was like 4.0. It was really average. He had a lot of touchdowns.
I think he is, Jay, 49er fan. I got to watch. I lived in San Francisco for 13 years. I got to watch some of the 49ers and the Raider games.
21 was Tony Dorsett.
I know he's got him at 20.
Who?
You got Dorsett at 20?
21.
Wow.
Marcus Allen was 23. And I don't know who 22 is yet. I haven't found anything.
Coach Reeves a crybaby, Mr. Terrible. They complain about the referees. I mean, please. They play one of the roughest. They play the most physical ball. And they're crying about the referees. No, I don't want her in the fever.
Terrell Davis was 22. 23 was Marcus Allen. And
yeah, 20, I agree with you. No, the Reeve. I mean, if I was a fever, I'd pick somebody from off her staff. I'd pick the defensive who helps her with their defense. I'd pick whoever their coaches are in defense. I'd pick them if I was the fever. I'd grab one of those. Yeah. I wonder who's Fever's assistant coaches are. They help her with the defense.
It looks like Frank Gore is 25.
Basil, I am a New York homer, except for the Yankees.
So Frank Gore was 25, Rob, and I think Franco Harris was 24, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Franco Harris is 24.
Yeah, Mr. Terrible, the coach for Golden State, she's a good coach. She's been around. I would have been a nice coach.
So I don't know if you heard my list, but that's it. That's the list.
Yeah, we heard it.
Running backs of all time.
Yeah, we heard it.
Remember, there's some old time people you have to include, like Hugh McEloney and Joe Perry and Steve Van Buren from the Eagles. These guys led the league in rushing several times. Some of these guys, and you have to go by the era too.
Mr. Terrible, how can you like the Yankees?
Oh, you didn't hear this start? Well, you're going to disagree no matter what, Bayless, because that's all you ever do. So, all right. So that number 1 was Jim Brown. Number 2 was Barry Sanders. Number 3 was Gale Sayers. Number 4 was O.J. Simpson. Number 5 was Walter Payton. Number 6 is Eric Dickerson. 7 was Emmitt Smith. 8 was Adrian Peterson. 9, LaDainian Tomlinson. 10 was who was 10, Rob? 10.
I thought it was Dickerson.
No, Dickerson was 6. Number 10, I forgot number 10 now.
Oh, Guidry and Rigotti, yeah.
No, it was Marcus Falk.
Oh, okay.
Was 10. Let's see.
Oh, you grew up a Yankee fan. Well, my dad was a Dodger fan. I was a Mets.
7th.
I was a Mets fan.
I know he gained the most yards, but that doesn't mean he's the greatest running back of all time. He just had a great offensive line, and he was a great running back. But the other players, I mainly went by their ability to run with the ball, because that's the main job, especially back then. For most of the team players back then.
So, Mark, what do you think? I mean, we're talking about how, let's see, with father-son things. But usually, father-son things, baseball, like Mr. Terrible.
James didn't make the list.
So, with Mark, your father-son thing was mostly with football, not baseball.
My what?
With most sports, like you with your father-son.
I watched football with my dad. Yeah, mainly football.
Oh yeah, because
he didn't watch a lot of baseball or a lot of basketball, but he watched some of both. He didn't watch any hockey really, and he didn't watch soccer. He liked football, baseball, and then basketball, and then he liked the Olympics and stuff like that. He liked Wide World of Sports. He used to watch that.
Oh yeah, that was the best.
Right. So
Bronny and LeBron, what a joke.
I said anything that's different than what Bayless, whatever Whitty says, is bad lists. Edwin James didn't make it. There's 25 running backs better than him. Sorry. I put a lot of research into this, and I know more about it than you do.
Yeah, I like the Mr. Terrible. Giants are my second favorite team. I was a Browns fan.
If you put Edwin James on your list, I could pull out the player that you take off from my list and say, "Oh, any list without this person on your list is a bad list." I could easily say that. It's just like when you have like an all-star team and there's 26, 27 great players and 24 make the all-star team. Well, anybody that doesn't put, number 25 on the all-star team is a bad list. So you could say that. But I expected Bayless to say something like that.
Yeah, Louisiana Lightning.
All he does is criticize. It's his only job, I think, in life.
He keeps you in line, Mark.
No, I keep him in line. I just tell him he's wrong all the time. Because I know more about the topic than he does. He just doesn't realize it.
You hear that, Basil?
Like today, Rob, when we were talking about the fouls, I said you can't go by the number of foul shots that they take. You have to look also how many fouls were called. And I said it could have been because they were in the bonus or also they weren't shooting fouls. And he said, well, your bonus thing doesn't make any sense, but it does if you don't take it just for itself. because I said, or if it's a shooting foul.
Oh.
And he criticized me for that. He says, "That's not making sense," but not true. It makes sense because when you're in the bonus, you get more free throws. So of course it makes sense.
He said, "How can you get his name?"
How can that make sense? I didn't say it was the only reason. I gave 2 reasons why. You already responded to that? I'm sure you were wrong the second time too, Bayless, because my argument is solid.
It's Basil, not Bayless. It's Basil. That's why he said you
whatever
can't get
his name is. Whatever. It's
don't do that. Don't do that. You gotta respect him. He's good. He's good.
Well, I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's Basil. You see the first part, like basil leaves, you know?
Basil, if
Awadi.
It's too many syllables.
You went to college?
Joe 22 or something, something simple.
Wait, you went to college? Jeez. Basil Fawwitty.
Can you
Basil
get
Fawwitty?
Bayless Witty? Rob, Mark is not a baseball game, so he does not understand the nuances of baseball culture, like the World Series being an October event, and the father-son thing. Baseball is a beautiful game. Whatever, it's a beautiful game, but it's boring.
It's
Bobby, slow. It's too slow for me.
Yeah, I mean it's slow for me too, but like he's talking about.
Doesn't mean I don't enjoy the playoffs. I do. But
I mean, I used to go. I mean, we have a minor league team in Rochester, and I used to go with my dad all the time. We go to the games.
Skip Basil. Boxing Bulldogs. You beat me to it. Skip Basil. Someone always wrong, right? Who thinks he's always right?
Skip Basil.
I've never seen a guy who's so critical of things and then make illogical arguments so often.
So it's like Faulty Towers. Do you remember that? I don't know if you remember that. They had Faulty Towers. That was a pretty funny British.
So wait a minute. He responded to my thing. Let me see what he responded because I want to see how much more illogical things he can do in one comment.
Mr. Terrible or Bobby might go to the game with my dad, and he only let us buy like 3 things. You only get 3 things. So I can only get a hot dog, a soda, and I used to get a program because I used to keep score. You're so sensitive.
What was it? What was the video? The video was about the game.
Yeah, Jay, I would have called it a foul. It was a foul. Earlier, I was telling them that they have this thing called hand is part of the ball. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Hand's part of the ball. When I played pickup games, used to say that. Oh, that's a foul. Hand's part of the ball. Or this.
Yeah, I read the rule thing. It's very unclear to me, and it's very vague. It's a very vague rule, and it also doesn't make any sense if you take it at face value because I could have the thumb on the ball, and then the rest of my hand on his hand as he's shooting. Well, that's obviously a foul, and it's still part of the ball. Mm. So I think if it's incidental, if it's 5 or 10%, you're not gonna give a foul call. But if it's his hand, how's that not a foul?
Yeah.
What's the difference between you? So you're going to tell me that he hits his arm and it's a foul, but if you put your hand on his hand, that's not a foul? I mean, it's just silly.
Huh. Mr. Terrible, you never been to Yankee Stadium? I went to the older Yankee Stadium. It was great. The new one, people I talked to, they said it sucks. It's not the same. Yeah, I've been to Shea. I went to Shea. I miss Shea. I haven't been to Citi Field yet. Maybe next year I'll go. Yeah, Faulty Towers is a funny show. It's going to, between Monty Python and Faulty Towers. Let's see, garlic and basil. Garlic and basil. Let me see when I'm cooking. Yeah, I put that together. It depends. I put that on my chicken. Garlic and basil.
Could be more clear. I just explained to you how it's vague. What if my thumb is touching the ball, and the rest of my hand is on the other person's hand, which means 95% of my hand is on his hand. Or 90%. You're going to tell me that you consider that not a foul?
Yeah, he's not arguing with that. He said hands part of the ball is vague. It is vague.
It's vague. It says that. It's vague. It doesn't say – it's saying if your hand is on that ball, then your hand is part of the foul if you touch his hand. It doesn't say what part.
Mr. Terrible, I don't know. I never got it. They tried to give me hickey, but it wouldn't show up on my skin.
Or hickey's still a thing? I don't know. I don't give them out.
Well, with refereeing, I mean, like with my dad, even with me, my dad ref 25, I ref, but I mean, it's not a judgment. For me, personally, you follow the rules. There's rules that you have for refereeing. And then it actually does kind of get kind of personal. With me, my thing was don't reach. I would tell the players when they're sitting there, and it's okay.
That's all they did to Caitlin Clark all season, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, don't reach, and I would tell them that. And that was my call. A lot of referees have their call, like the charge is their call or whatever, the blocking, that's their call. But my call was reaching. Just be consistent as a ref. Just be consistent with the fouls. No, she's not going to go. Jay, she's not going that 3. She wouldn't go that 3-on-3 league. That'd be a waste of her time. There's no pressure on her to go. They're trying to pressure her. She's not going. Why would she go with a bunch of people who hate her? I mean, why would you go to a place? Would you go play with some people who hate you? And then she'll be making them money. So forget that. No, she's not going. Cece's not going with that stupid league. Yeah, I think you're right, Boxing Bulls. It would dilute it. I think it would dilute her brand. But still, she'd be making them money because people would go to see her. But 3-on-3 is I like 5-on-5. Perfect. Mr. Terrible, you are correct. That's the word to use. Perfect word to use. Exactly. See that, Mark?
What's that?
Mr. Terrible says she doesn't want to be around those skanks. Perfect. You are correct, Mr. Terrible. That's what they are.
First of all, I didn't say the rules didn't exist. Rob did. I didn't know whether it was in the rules. So again, you're wrong, Bale. I didn't say that. All right. So here's the conversation, Rob, and I'm going to show you how he's a pain in the butt. All right. He's there. He's going to be difficult. I'm going to be straightforward with him. Okay. So here is what I said.
Yeah, you're right, Mr. Terrible. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. He said, you are correct. You should not look at the number of foul shots to show a discrepancy in officiating. Okay. He told me I was correct for once. But in your explanation of them being in the bonus more often hardly makes sense, which, of course, it does make sense because if you're in the bonus, you're more likely to get foul shots. So it's stupid for you to say that, first of all. Second of all, you just pointed out that there were only a 4 foul call difference. And it was shooting fouls more often. Well, clearly it was not. That does not mean it's true. I said, listen again. I said whether they were in the bonus and whether they were shooting fouls. Big difference. Don't be so quick to criticize. You're often wrong, but you don't realize it. So then he says, okay, I watched again. I'm cool giving another view and more interaction in the comment section. Good for your channel, as YouTube sees it anyway. Because at 7:58, you said probably they were in the bonus more often, Rob, and they were shooting fouls more often, which is just what I said. And I didn't even look it up, Rob, because I had edited. I knew what I said. Right. I'm no court reporter. That's what I hear. So what's wrong with what I said? Can you be clear as to what part I got wrong? You made it sound it made no sense that the bonus wouldn't give more shooting shots, which it does, which is why there was a discrepancy between 25 fouls and 8 foul shots as opposed to 17 and 21. So tell me where I was wrong again. Go ahead, Bayless. Tell me where I'm wrong. Make the comment down below.
Vadim, so that Bayless.
Seriously, I just logically broke it down for you. Tell me where I'm wrong, that you had a right to tell me it made no sense when it obviously made a lot of sense. I don't care if I'm wrong. Just be right logically.
Bobby, if you put Basil and Mark in the room, who comes out of it? I don't know.
Now he goes into they get paid by the Demi Ray.
Is Basil's Mark's nemesis? I think so. Yes, he's.
I don't care. I'm very logical. You're gonna have a tough time with me, dude. Seriously, logic is my best skill in life is my logical ability. So you're gonna have to try real hard.
Play the clip.
Play the clip.
You guys are funny. That's good.
You want me to play the clip? I will. I'm just saying. Look, I've always said in all the things I did, if we're wrong, just be nice about it. Just be polite about it, and just say how we're wrong. And if you're logically correct, fine. I'll admit I'm wrong.
My vote's for ex-wife. I hear you, Bobby.
And you said it was not. Dude, you just said what I said was right. Okay, forget it. Whatever. Someone else, someone besides you, tell me if there was any problem with my logic. And if there is, then I'll back down. But so far, no one's agreeing with you, Bailiff.
Geez, I'm glad you guys. I'm glad I finally joined.
You can even call in. I'll debate it with you. I've got your comments right in front of me.
I'm glad you guys. I'm glad I joined this discussion. It's been a while. Geez, Mark.
I know you guys. Hey, listen, Rob. In my opinion, in our show, we agree too often. I didn't know we were going to agree this often. So it's good that we're having a disagreement with him because we don't have enough disagreement between ourselves and even our top 5 running backs. We didn't even discuss it ahead of time. We're identical.
Yeah, I mean, sorry. Those are the ones I like. The same as yours.
Right. He's right on. Vadim, right on what? I just broke it down logically. Tell me where my fault was. Tell me what I said that was logically or factually incorrect. I said there's a discrepancy. You can't go by the number of free throws. You also have to look at the number of fouls. And then I said sometimes a discrepancy for 2 reasons. One, because they might have been in the bonus, which would get them more free throws. And 2, they might have been shooting fouls, which get them more free throws. And that helps for the discrepancy. But you have to look at all of it together in order to determine whether or not there was one-sidedness too much out. Oh, he said probably. We have no idea he's right. I know, because he's wrong. I mean, if I just said something incorrect, I just repeated what I said. That is a logical fallacy with all due respect. No, you have to say why it's a logical fallacy. Just saying it's a logical fallacy is not saying it's logical.
Right,
that's not logical. You have to say a logical fallacy, then you have to explain where the problem is with my logic.
All right.
And
anyway,
I can tell you this concept isn't that simple. So I'm sure I'm right on this.
Anyway, who's gonna win the game tonight? Baltimore.
I'm trying to finally have a debate going, Rob.
No, it's not a debate. This is more like you guys sound like the WNBA.
What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about, Rob?
We're going to talk about the game, Monday night game. Tonight's Monday night game. Who's going to win? Who do you think Baltimore's going to win or Tampa Bay?
I got Baltimore. Rob's got Tampa Bay.
I got Tampa Bay win tonight, y'all.
All right.
The old Baker Mayfield, former Browns.
Okay.
You got Baltimore, Jay? Because of who? Because Jackson? I don't know. The only thing with Baltimore is I don't like the wide receivers. Bateman's coming on, but I don't like the wide receivers that much. Vadim's got Tampa Bay and San Diego. Who's San Diego playing? San Diego's playing who? Let's see. Let me look this up.
Do you hate Larry Bird? Why did someone say, do you hate Larry Bird? Oh.
Me?
Someone made a comment. Like, do you hate Larry Bird? I don't hate Larry Bird.
No. I saw him playing the preseason game in Rochester. At first I was like, oh, who's this guy? And then all of a sudden he hit a 3-pointer from the corner.
I'm not even a Celtics fan. I like Larry Bird.
Oh, you need to top it off, huh? 7-8 on your. Ooh, whoa. Very nice, Mr. Terrible. Top it off.
So someone said Collier had the little trophy and the MVP trophy stolen. By the way, my brother doesn't watch a lot of NBA, but he watched a fair amount of finals. He was really impressed with Collier and her defense, Rob.
We got you, Faulty. Don't worry about it. That's just him. I like Faulty Towers.
Faulty Towers. One guy said, Bird is pretty and might be clever, but she's not smart. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
She's no dummy.
I just think it's so funny that they're whining about the referees. It just makes me laugh. It makes me laugh so hard. Wow. You're whining about the referees, really?
You know why it's funny is these teams get the benefit of the calls, Rob, more often than the other teams in the league. Seriously, they do.
Yeah.
Connecticut, Minnesota, Liberty, and the Aces all get the benefit of the calls more than any other teams in the league.
Do you think refs, like we were talking about, do you think refs really, they're supposed to be impartial, but do you think refs really do, favors if they're a home team or something? I mean, I've had games, where I played and there's homers.
Well, they've done stats in the NBA, and the home teams do get more foul calls than the away teams, Rob. They've done stats on that. Now, it's not like 80-20, but they have done stats on that. You can look it up. I've read it before, but there is a difference. The home teams do get more calls than the away teams in the NBA. I don't know about the WNBA. I think not just the WNBA. Most games, whatever. Rob, there's a question for you. They want to know what's required for the ref test.
Ref test. Which way, Jay? I mean, one of course is physical. If you got to be in shape to run up and down the court, that's one.
Well, first, Rob. Is there a written test?
Oh yeah, there's a written test.
Assuming there's a written test, right?
Oh yeah, there's a written test for that.
And then do they have you watch film and then make calls? What do they do next?
No, they actually go through where in situations. So you bring out in the court and they say, okay, they do situations. Okay, here's this. This person's driving to the basket. This person slides their feet. Is that a charge or is that an offensive foul?
Okay.
And then you see, and then they discuss different situations they bring up, over and back, whatever, or even with the coach. If a coach is, I mean, some referees they don't like the coach. You've seen that. They don't like the coach, and they'll tee you up real quick because of the coach.
Bobby, I understand, Bobby. I don't mind. I like logic. That's all. All right. I have him in all three of my main event lineups. You have who? Harbor likes to run, and he looked great last week.
Well, I'm a Browns fan. I hate Baltimore. They stole my Super Bowl, so. Yeah, Basil. I mean, when people say fix, that does indicate payoff. I don't know. These refs, they were. I mean, when you have fouls you have a foul that's right in front of you and you don't call it, and it's obviously a foul, and everybody else is saying it, who's not even a referee. That's kind of like, what are you watching? It's right in front of you. When Caitlin Clark got a hip check by freaking whatchamacallit from the sky. That was right in front of the referee. Yeah, and then Angels cheering for that. I mean, it would have been technical foul if I was refereeing.
I highly doubt these refs were paid off. So I do agree that for once I agree with whatever his name is, bailiffs over there. But I do not think the likelihood of the refs being paid off is very likely. It's always a possibility. There is a history of refs being paid off since the 1950s, but it's extremely rare. I think they have biases, and I think they feel pressure when they're in New York City. I feel those refs have pressure. Look what the Knicks and the Sixers.
Please!
The whistle. When they all swallowed the whistle on Maxey.
Yeah.
He got fouled 86 times near the end of game 1 or 2, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And they swallowed the whistle because they were in Madison Square Garden. No, I'm serious, Rob.
No, you missed it. You didn't call. What about that call out that should have been called out for?
Rob, we've been through this. You know you're wrong.
Now we're definitely going to disagree. Now your logic is off. Now your logic is definitely off on that one. Your logic is off from that one, Rob.
I knew I'd get a discussion out of Rob on that one.
That one, your logic is off.
No, Rob. You know he got fouled.
No. But you missed the other ones, so that's why Sixers lost, because they suck.
I don't know if they're towing the line. I have no idea. All I know is, what do they hope to gain to screw over Caitlin Clark every game after game after game? What do they hope to gain? They're still going to keep their job if they give Caitlin Clark a fair whistle. right? You're not gonna fire a ref because he gave Caitlin Clark a fair whistle. So why do they keep having to be biased against her like 3/4 of the time?
Like I said before, they're following the game plan of what the WNBA with Caitlin Clark. They're just following the game plan. With everybody says.
But I'm not saying obviously if they give her a good whistle, that's not going to be good. Okay, but to give her a fair whistle, how is that going to hurt the ref? Is someone's going to chew him out? Someone's going to hate him?
Well, you're going against the plan, Mark. That's not the plan. Like I said, I don't know if they got together with the referees.
Right, but it's still logically what is the plan?
Right.
The commissioner couldn't say, hold down Caitlin Clark. We don't want him to be successful in this league.
Well, it's what you said before. Like you said before, they were afraid to make the calls on Caitlin Clark because they thought they would be over biased, and then so they did the other way.
Yeah, I get that part. That's what I said in day one, where I thought they erred on the side of not giving Caitlin Clark fellow calls and ends up being against her. But it seems like too much. It just seems like too much that way, where it's not just like they're this way. Like it's not like 55-45. It seems more like 60-70. It's like too much. Something else is going on besides that. Besides the fact that she's a rookie.
Right. It does not have to be a payoff, but the league at the start could say we cannot make it look like we're giving favorable. Yeah, exactly, Basil. That's what we're saying. They were afraid they would give her a favorable whistle. So I don't know what, but still, like Mark's, like I agree with you, Mark. What is the logic? So okay, you don't want to give her the favorable whistle. So then, what is your job as a referee? Isn't your job as a referee is to call the game fairly? Correct.
Right.
It doesn't matter whoever the heck it is. I mean, yeah, those superstars do get favorite calls, but your job as a referee is to call the game consistent and fairly. So why should you listen well, I can't do this because she's Caitlin Clark. That makes no. You're right.
Because here's the other problem, Rob. Okay, let's say game one. We saw game one where she gets this phantom foul like 30 seconds into her career. All right, and let's say. Part of the reason is what I'm saying. They're afraid to give her a favorable call, so it ends up being a little bit unfavorable. That doesn't explain why it's a lot unfavorable. And it also doesn't explain that, like, after they go and watch the game that they refed and they see the film and then they get evaluated by the head referee, they don't see that they were unfavorable towards Caitlin Clark and then compensate next time by being fairer to Caitlin Clark on the next time. That's the part that I don't get. Well, I'll continue throughout the whole season.
Yeah, they didn't. There's
something else going on there because they feel like the lesbian women are going to beat them up or something.
Probably.
There's something else that I can't put a finger on it, and no one else can because just logically it doesn't get there.
I like Bobby Yu. Yeah, touch it. She's radioactive. Touch her at your own risk.
Yeah, there's just you know what I'm saying.
I mean, Basil. Yeah, you're right. It's like the illegal formation. Yeah, this rule. It's being enforced. It's always been there. The rule's always been there, but not
I know
enforced.
They don't want to be the face of the league, but who doesn't want to be the face of the league? Why do the refs care who's the face of the league?
Yeah,
Boxing the Bulldogs. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do they give a shit who the face of the league is?
Yeah, their job is to go out and referee the game. Who cares?
I know the women don't. I know that the black women in the media don't because of their tribalism and racism. But what are the refs? Forget about the black female refs. How about the other refs who aren't black females? What do they care about who the face of the league is?
Yeah, you're right, Bobby. It doesn't explain why they're scared of giving her a favorable call and why they're scared. I
understand that the players don't want her to be. I understand that certain people in the media don't want her to be. I know the commissioner doesn't want her to be, and because she's afraid of the women in the league too.
I mean, as a referee, when you're referee, like you said, the referees give the home team better calls. When you're a ref and you're stepping into your job is to referee, so you can't sit there like, oh geez, I'm in this gym here, I can't call it this way, otherwise I won't be able to go home or get a police escort.
No, but the refs get evaluated for their performance. So yeah, I can understand it earlier in the year than I can more after that, because after a while they go, okay, well look at this call's wrong, this call wrong, and then they start noticing a lot of calls are wrong against Caitlin Clark. And they're going, okay, well, I got to fix that next time and be fair towards Caitlin Clark, whatever. You think it'd get fixed by the end of the year, be fairer. But it wasn't. You go watch those games against the Aces. You go watch the playoff games, and the calls were against – and it's not just against Caitlin Clark. It seems to be against the Fever generally. Because they don't want Caitlin Clark's team to win.
Yeah, that one game with Boston had 5 fouls, and Wilson only had zero fouls. That's crazy.
Okay,
She had
Bobby, I
0
agree
fouls.
with you. Fear is irrational. It's not logical. But what are they scared of? They're not going to lose their job if they're given a fair whistle. There's no way, because they get evaluated based upon what really should have been the call. It's not like a head referee saying, okay, you weren't unfavorable to Caitlin Clark, we're going to fire you. That's not happening. Okay, I know that it's not, that conspiracy is not that deep.
Yeah.
Losing their job, why? For giving a fair whistle? I don't think so. There's something else here. There's something else going on here. There's just something there. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I was never approached like that. And that with me, the way I'm pretty ethics. Doesn't matter. I remember having a parent come up to me and said, "We have to win this game." I'm like, and if we don't win this game, what's going to happen? What, do you got money on the game? We end up winning, but I'm like, who cares? What I liked about coaching is the kids taught me is that it's only a game.
Bobby, why you say you're kidding? All refs in all the professional leagues, at least where they have the money to do it. I don't know if they get in high school, but they all get evaluated.
High school they get evaluated.
Yeah, because the coaches probably fill it out because there's not like a person watching them. They don't have film like they do in the NBA.
In high school, they get evaluated. Like I said, during the game, even in high school, like my dad, after he's
retired, who evaluates them, Rob? Is there somebody sitting in the stands?
Yeah, my dad would go to the games and evaluate.
Okay.
Refs, and they have no notebook.
It's easy in the NBA because you got the game film and someone goes after it after the game and checks it out.
Oh yeah, then the NBA goes, "Oh hey, we made a mistake."
Yeah, but in high school they don't have the games all filmed like that.
But the NBA is like, "Oh geez, we made a mistake." I'm like, "Well, thanks. That doesn't help me. It doesn't help the game."
Yeah, the commissioner is definitely not backing up Caitlin Clark. I get that's part of it, but I don't think she meets with the refs and say, "Don't give Caitlin Clark a favorable call." I don't think she says that. And I don't think the head ref says that to him either.
I don't know, but then what is it then?
Rob, I'm saying,
I don't know what it is.
All the comments here are reasonable things that influence it. Still doesn't get me 100% to the explanation, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying all that is part of it. All those things that you guys are saying are right. I just doesn't get me to 100% of the explanation. That's all I'm saying. That may give me like a 75 to 80% explanation. It doesn't get me to 100. That's just me.
Vadim, you kind of wrapped it up. Yeah, I mean, you're right. They're barely professional and they have shitty refs.
Bobby, I'm sure they got evaluated because they do that in every league that I know of. Because I've read about it.
They get evaluated. They do.
They do because they have to determine whether to lay that person off at the end of the year or not. So there's an evaluation done in every ref in every professional league. Yeah, if they don't meet enough, some of them get waived. The bottom ones get waived, and then they bring in new refs so that way the quality goes up every year.
No, it's not a third party or a bar association. That's just part of the referee has a whole. They have a whole committee with referee. I have to look up the name of it, but there's a name for the referees around the country, and there's a specific, like when my dad used to evaluate them, they have a list of things to look at, so they do. Yeah, the values have nothing to do with the quality. Yes, it does. So if you have a referee who sucks, they're being evaluated. This is I don't know if you're doing WNBA. Obviously, people who are evaluating them are not very good at it because they suck. But in overall, most leagues, basketball, college, high school, they do get evaluated, Bezo.
What are the standards? Well, I think they go over the game film and they see what foul calls were missed and what foul calls were wrong. And then I think they give them a grade. And it's my understanding they get grades.
Not really. No, also, Mark, what they do is also positioning. So like I said, with basketball, there's positioning. So if you're with the referees, they have to be, one has to be on the baseline, one's on the other side watching this call, and there's other ones, that's his responsibility to watch that. So they get evaluated on their positioning and how they.
All right. Oh, hey, wait, Scott. It's my understanding none of the NBA refs ref in the WNBA, and the reason is because they have a full season of 82 games that get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
They don't have to work in the off season because they have a pretty long season. Now, the WNBA only has a 40-game season. They're going to have a 44. they could work in like, say in like the NCAA, they only do what, 35, 38 games a year or whatever, 30, 40 games a year. You get the NCAA tournament, I guess is more than that, but it's not 82. So they'd be more likely, I think, like that's why I suggested they get the top players, especially from the men's Division I league, to try to get them to work in the off season, even if it's a half a season for the WNBA, and maybe some other guys work another half season. So you get some better refs, because I think the top refs in the NCAA men's division are better than the WNBA refs.
Right, Basil. Yeah, right, Basil. The league wants them to be more physical. So with the referees, that's what I'm saying. They kind of tell the referees, well, don't call this. They do. Yeah, I think they do dictate some of their evaluation as a refs. Yeah, you're right about that. Because if their motto is we want to have a physical league, or we want this to be called this way, with the referees, they're going to say, okay, were they soft on this? They didn't call this game. Were they soft on that, or were they too tight? But I mean, still, they should have a basic evaluation of how the referee should referee a game.
You said the NBA refs are in quest for professional sports. So how can their reviews be meaningful? I'm not sure I understand the question. They aren't meant to be meaningful. They are meant to be accurate.
No, be consistent. Just be. As a coach.
No, I meant the reviews. I'm talking about the reviews.
Yeah, but I'm talking about now going to coach mode because I was a referee. When I ref. I've had games where the referee was horrible, but I would stop and tell my players, okay, this referee sucks. So we're not going to get this call.
Yeah,
so what are you supposed to do? So now okay, this is the way the guy sucks. He's going to call out this call every time. If you reach for the ball, this referee's going to make a call foul on you. If you do this certain thing, so if he does it, just keep going.
Right, I want to respond to the physicality part. The physicality part is an error by the commissioner, and the head referee department. And even maybe the owners are in on it, but the physicality part, that's not fair if it's too physical. And the only way to get that out of there is to call the game tighter. And that has to come down from the commissioner. Says the head ref, says, okay, we got to call the game tighter. It'll take the physicality of the game. Until they do that, until the commissioner says that, the commissioner doesn't seem to want to take it out. She said 5 years, Rob.
Yeah,
5 years.
Yeah, Basil. That's I understand your point. That's what I'm saying too. The point is that she's warranting this, and so that trickles down to the refereeing. So
when David Stern wanted to change things in the NBA, guess what, Rob? He found a way to do it.
Yeah,
he did. He found a way to do it.
Yeah,
because David Stern was willing to put his foot down in order for the league to be successful. She's not willing to put her foot down. And she doesn't see that's a mistake. And now that people have been screaming all year, now that there's new eyes on the league, they're saying, we don't like all this physicality. It's prison ball. They need to make an adjustment by next year. They should have made it this year.
Yeah.
They were screaming since within 5 games, people were screaming that the ref is too physical.
Yeah, you're right, Bobby. That's what it seems like. The rules be damned that they don't want Caitlin Clark just her fans. So
if it's way too far to one side, they're going to get a bad review and they're going to get rid of the refs. That's
if they continue like that, people aren't going to watch the WNBA, Bobby. If they continue that type of line, people like you guys who just fell in love with the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark aren't going to watch it.
This commissioner can't be that dumb. She has to see some fans are getting pissed off, okay? Because she gets emails. She says she gets 40,000. She has to see that fans are getting pissed off by the unfavoritism by the refs and the way that Caitlin Clark's getting treated and the physicality of the league. She has to see the complaints about that. Now, the question is, maybe during the season it was too much for her to correct right away. I don't know. She's such an airhead. Who knows? But maybe in the offseason they're going to do something about it. I don't have a lot of confidence, but maybe there's some slight changes in the offseason.
No, I'm not saying basketball. Basketball is not supposed to be a physical game, Basil. It is a physical game, but if you're going to, how to dictate what's fair? What's fair is if, like I said, some referees call the game tight, or some referees call it tight. Then how can you call the game tight or no? They'll start out the game calling it loose, real loose in the beginning, but then near the end they'll start calling it tight. Like, wait a minute, how come that call that you made the first quarter or first half is now a foul? Why didn't you call that a foul in the first half? So that's, as a coach, that's what I'm doing as a coach. I'm going, wait a minute, that wasn't a foul in the first half. How come it's a foul now? Why are you changing the way you're refereeing? You can't do it in a mid game. That's where I get my tees or whatever. I get upset.
Rob, well, that's the problem. Why the refs are awful as opposed to just not good. They are not consistent. They miss calls all the time, and they have favoritism. So there's three things going on here on why the refs are so bad.
Yeah.
And they can't even get it right when they do a review.
Yeah, the review. Yeah, even when they review
How
it,
can
you can't get it
when
right.
you have the bang bang charge foul, you can get those calls wrong all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, if you do them, I bet you get 6 or 7 right out of 10. But when you got the review in front of you, how can you? Some of those calls you couldn't get. I was flabbergasted by some of the calls that weren't overturned.
The foul on Caitlin Clark that wasn't called, with the referee standing right in front of him, the white guy with bald head.
Easy call.
That was an easy flagrant foul call. That was easy. She came down in her space. That was a foul. That was a flagrant foul according to the rules. Yet he didn't call it that.
And it's just so ridiculous. It's.
What was the call where something happened last night? It was something happened where it was this is stupid. It was out of bounds. Remember? Okay, so it was out of bounds on I think on Lynx.
I agree with Vadine. That's what's bothering me. I'm all for human error, but there's something else going on here. That's what I've been preaching about for 42 games now, and that's what I'm preaching about tonight.
Yesterday was weird. There was a ball out of bounds, and they called the ball out of bounds on that, but they reversed it because they called a foul.
Okay, so they explained this.
Yeah.
So if the WNBA and the NBA apparently have two different rules. They explain this. Okay, so if the ball goes out of bounds and they didn't call the foul that should have been called, so it ended up. Let's say I think it was on Brianna Stewart. I think this was game 4, not last night. I think it was game 4. If it goes out of bounds, then they can say, oh, no, even though it went out of bounds to Brianna Stewart, she got fouled that we didn't call. We're going to get the ball to Brianna Stewart. But they can't call the foul.
Yeah, so I'm going.
They can reverse the decision because the foul was called the out of bounds and this is why they got the call. Okay. Now, in the NBA, they can actually call the foul now, I think, is what they said. They said NBA, they put in a new rule last year that they can actually say, oh, no, there's a foul, and that's why we're reversing the call. A foul on the defender, we're reversing the call, plus we're giving a foul. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, that's not. I'm going, wait a minute.
I have no problem with either rule. I don't have a problem with either rule.
Last night that killed me. I'm like, wait a minute. So the main thing when you were trying to determine if the ball was out of bounds, how does not calling a foul go into where you're evaluating when the ball's out of bounds?
It's saying the foul called causes to be out of bounds in the offensive player. Right. That's what it's saying. That's why they're allowing to reverse it without actually calling the foul. I think it's fair.
But if you didn't call the foul, so it should have been a foul, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You didn't call the foul. So how can you say,
they're trying to get the call right, Rob, and so that's why they're allowing it.
Well, then but if they do that, they should just call. There's all kinds of fouls.
And they should just call the foul. I know,
but
they're allowing that to try to get the call right. Now I think it's the right way to do it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, that's why I was going, what the hell? I mean, either you call the foul or you call the ball out of bounds. You can't sit there and go like, okay, we should have called that foul. The ball's out of bounds. Yeah, the ball's out of bounds on the Lynx. But we should have called that foul and be honest.
I think you're making an exception to the logic to what you're saying in order to get the call right.
Yeah. So with the ball's out of bounds off the Lynx, but we should have called that foul on Stewart. So we'll give the ball back to the Lynx. Wait a minute. No. That doesn't make sense.
That's why the NBA allows you to actually put the foul in there so that
it's either one or the other. It can't be like, oh, geez, we should have.
Well, I think the point is you want to try to get the call right. So I think either way allows you to get the call right. It's just in the NBA, WNBA, it doesn't allow you to actually put in a foul that you missed in the first place.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're going to do that, there's not two things they're trying to get right. The only thing they're trying to get right was that ball off of the links. Okay, it was off of links, should be Liberty ball. You can't go like, oh, wait a minute. Geez, that we should have called that foul. Oh, okay. So they're trying to, like you said, they're logic. They're trying to do two things. You can't do that on a call. That doesn't make sense. You're saying one
I think
thing.
Traditionally you couldn't, but they're just trying to get the call right. And what should happen in the first place?
The first place should have been the ball to bounce. That's the first call. Now, if they missed the call, that's on them. They missed the call. They can't go back, oh, we missed that call. No, you can't. Either you call that foul, and that's a foul, and don't worry about the ball being out of bounds. So if they called the foul, then the ball being off of the links doesn't matter if that's the case.
Well, I can make an argument, Rob, that the point is to get the call right, and there's sometimes more than one part to a play. And you're saying you can't have both parts evaluated. When I'm saying, yeah, if you're trying to get the call right, maybe you do it. You should, and that's what they decided.
What I'm asking you, what call are you trying to get right? Which one are you trying to get right? The out of bounds?
Who should have been out of bounds if there wasn't a foul?
Okay, so that's one. So you can't have two calls. So what call are you trying to get right? The one that you missed the foul call, or the ball is out of bounds off of the player? Which one are you trying to get right?
They're trying to get both right.
You can't do both. No, you can't.
Well, they can't traditionally.
You can't do both. It's either the initial.
They do it. They decided in the NBA and the WNBA they can do that.
That's why it's so weird. The initial call was they're trying to evaluate.
I understand your logic to the extent that you should only be able to challenge whether or not you're getting the ball out of bounds or not. But the whole point of challenging the call or getting the call is getting the call right. And sometimes there's more than one part to it.
No, there's no one more part. Like I'm trying to say,
there is.
There's either this call or this call. There's no, well, geez, let's add this one in here. Oh, hey, I mean, so Mark, so you're reviewing the call for out of bounds, and you go, oh, geez, I see it's off the ball's out of bounds off of the links. It should be Liberty ball. Oh, hey, look at this. Gee, that was a foul. We should have called that foul on Stewart. Huh. Well, okay, so we'll say the ball's out of bounds on the links, but we missed that call there. So we'll give the ball to the links. No. that's crazy. That's freaking crazy. That doesn't make sense. I would have got technical. I would have been thrown out of the game. I would have totally been thrown out of the game for that.
I understand your argument, and I'm not saying there's something to that, but there's also logically to saying if you're trying to figure out who's it off on, it's involved. The whole play is involved in who it was off on.
No,
and including the foul.
Easy,
but that's part of the play. That's part of the call. Is whether there should have been a foul.
So what you're saying is what they're saying is that the reason why the ball went out of bounds is because there was a foul.
Correct. In other words, like Breanna Stewart has the ball. She gets fouled, which results in the ball being out on her when it would have been out on the other person.
That doesn't make any sense. That makes no sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. Whether you want to say you should be able to now look to see whether there's a foul or not that caused without bounds is another story. But to say that yes, it wouldn't, if she hadn't been fouled, it wouldn't have been out on, it would have been out the other defender. That makes a lot of sense.
They were not because they were not reviewing that. They weren't reviewing the foul call. They were reviewing the ball out of bounds.
That part, Rob. I get that
That's
part.
it. That's all. That's it. That's all they have to evaluate. They can't just all of a sudden add on. Suppose there was a foul on the offside. It wasn't on Stewart. That maybe it was an off the ball foul. Are they going to say, "Oh, geez, there's an off the ball foul too"? So we have to look at that. We missed that one. So we have to put the two. You can't put the two together. Your initial review was the out of bounds call. But for you to also add in, hey, there's a foul that we missed. That is you can't do that.
Rob, you're the person with the ball. Okay, you get the foul. You get fouled, and it results in you being off on you instead of the other person, right?
Call the foul.
Wait. Let me finish. Let me say there was no foul call.
Okay.
And it was, well, just let me finish. I'm okay, but put it on me then. Put it on me. Let's pretend I'm me. But you're going to be the same way because you're going to be react the same way. And it goes, and let's say you're in a pickup game or something or whatever it is. And they say, no, out on Rob, and you got pushed and fouled, and that's why they went out of bounds. What's your first reaction? Your first reaction is, but I got fouled. That's why I was out on me. I got pushed. And you're going to say that. And you can say, I should have if you're in a pickup game, I should have the ball because you got pushed or fouled and was out on you. That's your first reaction. So they're correcting that reaction by putting that in part of the evaluation of what happened in that particular play. So it makes perfectly good sense to put that into the evaluation of who is that out on.
No, you can't. You can't do that. You cannot do that. I just
gave you what your reaction would be. That would be my reaction.
My reaction has nothing to do with what the call was. My reaction to
You're trying to get the call right?
No, but my reaction is not. It has nothing to do with what the foul, what they're reviewing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. My reaction to that, like you said, oh yeah, I would react and said that's a foul on me. That's why the ball went out of bounds, right? But they didn't call the foul, so they're evaluating what happened, whether the ball was off of me or off of you. That's what they're
evaluating the whole play.
No, they're not. That's not what they're doing, Mark. That's not what they're doing. They're not evaluating the whole play.
When they challenge it in the NFL, they're sometimes challenging the whole play, and then there's parts of it they allow and parts they don't allow into it. So I'm just saying.
So then.
It's not as illogical as you think it is because they're challenging the whole play. The whole play of what happened affected on who went out of bounds in the first place.
It is illogical because, so like I said, let's go over. They determined that the ball was off the Lynx player. They determined that. But then they said, okay, we missed the foul. So we're going to give the ball back to the Minnesota. How are you going to give the ball back to Minnesota? Because you missed the foul. How is that right?
Because it wouldn't have been out on her they weren't fouled. That's why.
No, that's totally bogus. I've been thrown out of the game.
I'm just saying that's what the rules are in both in WNBA and the NBA right now. In fact, in the NBA, I think they said, and I didn't know this, in the NBA, I think they can actually go back and call a foul, which that means too far for me.
Well, that means they can go back and evaluate whether this was a travel or this is. That means they can go back and revalue every call then, Mark. That doesn't make sense. So if there's a stoppage, they can go like if there's a foul. Say like there's a foul. So last night they called the foul for Stewart. Now during that foul call, could they evaluate? Oh, geez, hey, maybe we saw something over there too. Can they do that too? No, they can't do that. It's got to be one or the other. It can't be both. And then award the ball to the team. Like, wait a minute, how are they getting the ball? It was off.
Let me read the comments so I can respond to them. And I understand your argument, Rob. I'm not saying there's not logic to your argument. I'm saying there's also logic to the way they changed the rules. If Rob, it makes absolutely no sense they wouldn't have put it in. I'm just saying it's a question of perspective. My perspective is I want to get the call right, and to have an extra layer there to get the call right satisfies me more than. I don't want to see, okay, they got the call right, but he got pushed. I go, yeah, as a fan, I'm just satisfied with the fact that it's not overturned because I know they missed an easy foul.
Well, then make the call then.
Well, they missed the call.
Yeah, you missed it. So you can't go back and say, oh, oops, we missed the call.
Rob, why can't they challenge whether there was a foul call was missed and whether or not it was out of bounds on?
Because
why can't you allow that?
It's got to be one or the other.
Essentially, that's what they're doing. Is they're challenging both parts to it.
They can't do it. No,
both leagues are doing it now.
You're saying the cause and effect is that way. That's why they got the ball back. That doesn't make that's not right. That doesn't make sense.
Why? Okay, why did they not get the CCI poll correct then? They didn't even call a foul on that because they're idiots.
You're right, Basil. This is the showdown now.
They're making an exception to not challenging foul calls because of the fact that so often on those plays there's fouls that cause the other person to be out on them. That's why they're making an exception. That's all.
Sorry, guys, we missed the chat. Let's go see your chats. We missed you guys. Sorry.
I think you should be able to challenge non-calls myself. and they don't have that. Like when Caitlin Clark he's talking about the eye poke. Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye.
Oh yeah, that one.
She fell to the ground, and no one you can challenge any foul call of any type, but you can't challenge an obvious non-call. That makes no sense to me. I think you should be able to challenge non-calls.
Well, like when she got knocked to the ground by Kennedy. I mean, why couldn't you challenge that?
They actually did call a foul on that one, but you should be able to challenge the fact that it was called an off the ball foul instead of a flagrant one. You should be able to challenge that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the eye gouge was so obvious. It was right. The guy was standing right there. How do you challenge a non-call? There's no stoppage in play.
Mark is arguing about how much the ball do you have to touch before it's actually off of you.
I think you're right, Leroy. That was the worst.
I didn't argue that at all. I don't know why you're saying putting words in my mouth. Well, I didn't even mention that at all. You know, it's the amount of touch could be a fingernail. Well, if the two are touching at the same time, then that's a judgment call there. They're touching at the same time. They push it out of bounds. Those are calls. Those are hard calls when they're both kind of hit at the same time. You know, that's different. Now we don't know who touched it last. That should be a jump ball.
That's what I'm saying. With that, they shouldn't have gave the ball back to the Lynx. It should have been a jump ball. I mean, as a referee, you go, okay.
Although jump balls really aren't fair because now this person that's tall.
Well, they can't even jump, so it's like
I like what they do in college basketball. We just whoever has the arrow.
The possession.
Yeah, I don't think jump's fair. It's like
the reason why it's not fair is because the referees don't know how to throw the ball up correctly.
No, it's because people aren't the same height, Rob.
Well, that's what happens. But I mean, yeah. I mean, if me against you, jump ball.
That's why they got rid of the center thing and after each basket in the NBA like 100 years ago.
I mean, me, you, and the jump ball. I think people know who's going to win that jump ball. I don't know if you even jump.
I'm going through comments. So he wants to know if there was a travel before the foul, before it goes out of bounds. Can you back 3 moments before the call? No, because that's not part of the play. The travel was before the play. So the answer to your question, Bayless, is no, because now you're going too far because that's not part of the play. The foul is called part of the play. Big difference. So what's the next question? So if a missed foul call causes a turnover that leads to another team scoring, can they bring it back? Well, they can't now, but I think you should be able to argue non-calls. I think you should be able to argue missed foul calls. That's my print. I'm not like maybe one a game. I missed non-foul call. I get what's happening with the refs is not 100% logical. I get that. That doesn't mean I don't want to totally understand the reasoning behind it. This is the showdown you've been waiting months for. Yep. I told you, Rob and I agreed too much. I didn't think we would agree as much as we did when we started this channel. I'll be honest. But we have the same outlook on a lot of things. That's just all it is. They've completely ignored the chat. So we're going to do a video on this.
Video on what?
They said this is the best showdown we've had. The best we've had.
Yeah, that's what they said. We totally ignored it.
I'm not even saying that there's not logic to what you're saying, or that you could say, yeah, you should just leave it the way the rule is. But I'm also saying I can make a good argument for the other side, and that's why they did change it, because you can make a good argument for the other side. That's what I'm saying.
So Scottish John, I don't know when the new coaches are announced. They can announce? I think they can announce them anytime they want to. Bobby U. That was a nice discussion. Of course, we're still friends. That's a good discussion. No.
All right. So
no, Basil, I'm not going anywhere. That's what life's about. You don't have to always
Okay.
agree. That's why people are friends.
Wait, I'm trying to understand his argument. He said because foul calls are objective, but he meant subjective. But out of bounds are not objective; they're subjective on who it's out on. Well, sometimes it is subjective when it looks like both of them are touching at the same time or something like that. Sometimes that is subjective. But so I don't understand what's the point of that. If it's subjective, you don't think they should be able to challenge your point about whether or not. I'm not even disagreeing with your basic premise. I just don't understand the point for that.
Well,
so you have to explain it down below.
You disagree with the rule. The rule that's their rule. That's what you're talking about.
I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing that there's good reasoning for the rule, but I'm also agreeing. I understand your point about you're challenging whether it's in or out of bounds. You shouldn't go back and see whether there's a foul too.
So
the whole point of the challenging is to get the call right. And so if it turns out that the only reason you got it wrong was because there was a foul, you're not really challenging to get it right. So there's logic to the rule, Rob. That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes the logic is not right, like Mr. Turtle.
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this necessarily. I'm just a question of what's your perspective.
So if you were the coach, what would you be upset with that call?
No, I disagree with you. I like the change in the rule. I think it's.
No, I'm asking you. Would you agree with that call? If you're at with that call when they made that call as a coach, would you agree with that?
Which call are we talking about?
The one we were talking about. Would you be upset, or would you just be like, oh yeah,
they changed it because it was out of bounds? The out of bounds one?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. Given as long as it's the same for me, when on a call like happens like that, I'd rather get the call right.
But
I'd be unhappy that we lost the call, but I wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. So your argument, if you were a Liberty coach, you would be upset
for that particular call. I'd be disappointed I didn't win the call, but I wouldn't be disappointed in the fact that I think the rule is unfair. I think the rule is fair because the whole point is trying to get the call right.
So you wouldn't have gotten a T, or you wouldn't have been upset. You would have just walked away.
Well, those are the rules. What am I going to be upset about? Those are the rules.
Oh, okay.
Only if I didn't think it was a foul, then I'd be upset. Let's say I didn't think it was a foul, and they use that as an excuse for why they overturned the call. Then I'd be upset. But that's not really what you're asking me, right? That's absolutely the worst Jimmy ever watched in any professional sport. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, like I said, Rob, these are supposed to be the three best refs, or at least three of the best refs,
Yeah, you're right, Jay.
How could they miss? Okay, how could they miss the Caitlin Clark eye gouge if the review is so effective? I didn't say the review is effective in this league. I'm merely saying they have reviews and they should be effective. But in the NBA, I think they are. That's why the NBA refs aren't as bad. All right.
Worst treatment I've ever seen. She could have been MVP of the league. Yeah, Leroy. I thought, the Frazier, she could have been MVP of the league. She played the best after the second half. She played really well after the Olympics. She played well during the Olympics.
Rob, someone said you need to talk more again today. So then they said I filibuster. I just explain to the people that are listening right now. I always have to do Rob's working too many hours because I keep always short. I do research on the topic and the subjects, and then half the talk that I'm doing, I'm reading something or set up the factual background of something, and so it looks like I'm talking more than I actually am. And I encourage Rob to talk as much as he wants. I do. I've said to you lots of times. Someone said it's your fault because you need to expand on your comments more, or something like that. Someone said, they suggested that you talk more.
Oh, well, I mean, like I said, you read. When you find an article and I listen to it, and then I respond to the article.
All right, yeah. So, but you have the green light to talk all you want, and I've said that from day one.
Oh yeah. I don't talk that much, really. Actually,
I think the refs should be fined for getting calls wrong. They can't do that because they'd be fined. They all be broke.
They all be broke. No, they should fine them, and then they should have a fund, at the end.
Right.
And
how can you challenge a non-call? There's no stoppage in play. Well, I guess if there's no stoppage in play, maybe that's when you can't challenge a fall. But let's say when there is a stoppage of play is the only time you can challenge a non-call.
Yeah.
So you'd have to say when there's a stoppage of play, you can challenge a non-call. If there's not a stoppage of play, you can't challenge a non-call.
Thank you, Jay.
So I guess you'd have to make that the rule. I agree with your point, though. But when Caitlin Clark got knocked to the ground, there was a stoppage of play there because people came over to her and it's actually stopped.
Basil, you're funny.
Are you guys still friends? Okay, I'm still looking at these comments. Okay. When do new coach appointment announcement normally happen? Skyr Fine seems like a month ago. That's true. Has anyone hired anyone yet? I knew that other coach was going to get fired.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought they could hire every time they want to. So
the only one that didn't get fired that was in the bottom 5 was the Mystics coach. He didn't get fired. But they were missing some players, right, through the year. So
yeah, Leroy, I think they missed the travel. So see, Mark. So Mark, going on your theory, when they called the foul on Breanna Stewart, she traveled first. So could they go back and say, well, geez, she traveled first before she got fouled?
That was all part of the play. If the goal is to try to get the call right, which is whether you're out of bounds,
if you want to get the play,
yeah, it was a foul, but she traveled first. Too bad.
Yeah. So if you're, I'm going by what you're saying. So if they wanted, you said you want to get the call right, she traveled first before she got fouled.
And that I think you can make that argument. That was part of the play.
If they're going by the rules, that should have been
right. It was clearly a foul. It was clearly a travel.
Oh yeah,
the foul, whether it was a foul or not, I'm kind of in between on that. But I really think someone said she didn't hit her hand, but she did. She clearly hurt her hand. I've seen it high definition in slow motion, and a decent amount of her hand was covering her hand initially when she blocked it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
not saying it's the best call in the world. You could easily not make a call on that.
So I would have called the foul.
Considering how physical it is in that league, maybe it's not a foul, but I'm still by the rules.
That's what Reeve was saying. The game was a physical game, so considering how physical it was, why would you call that foul? And that's what I'm saying. These referees, you don't call that during the whole game. You don't call a foul the whole game, and all of a sudden you call these calls. So it's like, wait a minute.
Scott says, you think coaching firings are done? I can see DT becoming Mercury coach. Oh, just her retiring? Yeah, she didn't even announce her retirement yet, right? I enjoy Rob's commentaries by Jay. You got a fan, Rob and Jay. Don Nelson to the Fever. How old's Don Nelson?
Don Nelson, he's about 70, 80 years old. I like Don Nelson as a coach.
They did have the rule in the NFL, like challenging a non-pass interference call. They got rid of it. And it didn't. I think they tried it for a season. It didn't work out, they said.
Don Nelson's 107.
Coach Reeves, a fantastic coach. You agree with her? She may be a fantastic coach, but she's a not a good person.
Yeah, you can't say that word, the C word.
I wasn't thinking of that word, Rob.
Mark, I know you. I saw your face. You were thinking it. I read it through the mind. I see you.
She's just not a nice person.
Oh, Mr. Terrible. I didn't know Don. Really? Don Nelson died 2013?
It's all subjective. Wow. The goal is to line
him as a coach.
Subjectivity that happened.
I liked him as a coach.
Nafisa has received the worst treatment I've ever seen. She's arguably could be the MVP of the league and should have won a championships. Many of us new fans enjoy the NCAA because it's real.
Yeah, Mr. Terrible.
Yeah, Nafisa, I feel sorry for her. I'm not sure she should deserve the MVP. But she got runner-up, and that's probably what she deserved. Yeah. I'm not convinced she's a better player than A'ja Wilson. She's certainly a nicer person. But A'ja Wilson statistically did have a great year. And, yeah, they didn't win as much as they did last year. But, they didn't have a real point guard. The point guard was basically out the whole year.
Basil, I don't know if I don't. I don't know what the Australians use for their word. I don't know. I don't know what Australians use for that.
Mark is like a pit bull when it comes to arguing. Once he bites into an argument, he would shake it until the other person cries out, "Uncle." No, we didn't. Rob could have stopped anytime. I would have stopped anytime. I didn't wear him out. As long as you continue to argue, I'm going to keep arguing what I think.
Well, that's what he's saying. You're like a pit bull. You won't let it go.
Well, you didn't let it go. You kept debating it too. I didn't. It wasn't. I was the only one prolonging the discussion. You were jumping in every time I said something. You said something after that. So that's not fair.
I don't know, Boxer Bulldog.
By the way,
she had a good second half. Collier had a good second half. But Wilson, yeah, Wilson played. Wilson, I think, should have won. She won.
Rob, I think Jay has a crush on you. First, he said, "I like Rob's commentary." Then he says it's very wise.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're saying that
he's not a crush. He's just knowledgeable.
But the reviews might not necessarily be effective. Not in my memory, what you guys said. I don't think I think the reviews are effective in most sports most of the time. But there's times where you see the reviews, even in the NBA and the NFL, and you go, why wasn't that overturned? Or, or why was it held? Or, you know what I mean? But in WNBA, they seem to be even worse at fixing it with the reviews. And that goes to, if they do it the way I understand it, there's supposed to be a person in New York or whatever that is one of the persons looking at it. And I think the two refs that didn't make the call, and I think those three people are supposed to come up with a call if there was a person that made the call. But I don't know,
Leroy, yeah, you're right. Mark and I said that about A'ja being predetermined, crowned most valuable player. It was right in the beginning of the year. We always saw that.
Everybody's been saying that except for ESPN.
Yeah, it was already predetermined. So Mark, we have Caitlin Clark winning the MVP next year.
I've already voted for Caitlin Clark for MVP next year.
Yeah,
they told me what the rules are when I started watching the NBA. It was like 2-3. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. It was 2 or 3 games in. People are already talking about A'ja Wilson for the MVP award. I've never heard that in any other sport in my entire life, and it never stopped. It was like it's got to be unanimous halfway through. It's like unanimous halfway through. You're telling now, okay, you can say halfway through. You can start saying who should be MVP, but now saying it's unanimous halfway through. I've never heard that in a league either. I
know. I'm like, what the heck? Right. Even Mick got that one right. Yeah. The full media room started laughing when Sandy said
Mark
officials seem to be fair and became players. Coach.
I'm always logical.
You're right, Scottish John.
You could say I'm wrong in this, but obviously the WNBA, the NBA doesn't feel that way. They actually agree, and I don't feel strongly about it either way. I'm saying I can understand the argument. I'm just saying I'd like to get the call right, and I think that's one way to get it right.
Yeah, Mr. Terrible. Reeve is a great coach, but I mean, she already determined the way she's acted. I really don't like her attitude towards the way she treated Caitlin Clark. And what was with that T-shirt saying, black players? What is that supposed to mean? I didn't understand that T-shirt she was wearing.
The Aces coach needs to get fired for discrimination against pregnant women. Well, that's a she said situation. But I don't see. You can say Hamby's trying to get money, but I don't see Hamby lying about that.
Okay? You think do you think she's going to win? You think she's going to win the case?
She's going to win. I think she's going to win the case to a certain degree, whether they settle or not. Because like when you settle a case, did you win or lose? Okay, it depends on the settlement. If the settlement is clearly favorable towards one person, yeah, they won, even though they didn't go to trial. If the settlement's somewhere in the middle, then maybe you didn't win. If the settlement's over here, then maybe you lost, but you just settled. So yeah, do I think she's going to win the case? In general, yes, because I think she's credible. And I think Becky Hammon comes across as a bad person, and I can see her doing that.
Huh.
And I think Derek Hamby doesn't come across that way. And it seems like a bizarre thing to make up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she filed the complaint right away. It's not like she waited 2 years to say that this happened. She complained about it right away. So, it's one of those things like she didn't make up a rape 10 years later. You know what I mean? So I believe her, and I think she's credible. And I think that's going to be a problem for the WNBA. That people, even though it's a she said case, and
Yeah.
I think they're going to have problems.
So Basil, who knows? Maybe Collier will be like Asia Wilson. She'll come back really strong this year and win the MVP. She'll probably really work at her game and
Who's that?
come back with MVP. Basil says that Collier got cheated this year, and maybe next year she'll make up for it.
Oh no, I already voted for Caitlin Clark.
Oops.
I'm sorry. I like Collier. I'll give a runner-up again, but I already voted for Caitlin Clark. You can't give her MVP.
It's got to be unanimous, Mark. It has to be unanimous.
If you want to know the truth, I think next year the two people most likely to get MVP is Collier and Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, either one.
You can see the improvement of Collier this year. She was 4th last year and 2nd this year in the MVP voting, and this is her best year. And Caitlin Clark is only going to get better. And I think if I was a betting person on Las Vegas odds, I would actually bet on those two first, and I would bet on Asia Wilson 3rd and Brianna Stewart 4th. If I was betting.
Yeah, you're right, Basil. Collier will get the Asia treatment next year, and Clark will get pushed aside again. But not if she goes off. If Clark goes off next year, there's no way she can't win the MVP.
Caitlin Clark has the advantage over Napheesa Collier in the fact that she makes her teammates better than Collier does. Collier has the advantage of the fact that she is clearly a better defender than Caitlin Clark by a large margin on the ball, at least on the ball defense. And Caitlin Clark needs to improve in that area if she wants to be the best player in the league and the MVP. She really does. She can't be a bad defender, below average. She needs to be at least an average defender, on the ball average defender to be an MVP. I think people, because you see those plays where she's like way off the person and she allows 3 points. That's a lot, or she gets just burned to the basket. And she's perfectly capable of being an excellent defender. That's what's frustrating.
She's got to work at it. She's got the potential, the long arms. She's got the hands.
Oh, she's got the athletic ability. She has the smarts. She has bad habits from college, and I blame part of that on her coach.
Oh.
All right. Let's see.
Buck. Yeah, Vadim, Buck, and Aikman.
All right. The show needs both Bob and Rob to make it work. Of course, that's why we have Bob and Mark. All right. All right. Rob, what if you're Australian? Can you use the C word?
I know. I didn't know what I don't know what they use the C word in Australia. I don't know.
All right. Collier deserved MVP. Yeah, I don't know if she deserved MVP, but I think she was better than Brianna Stewart this year, and she got voted higher than Brianna Stewart.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bobby.
Vadim, they count Asian determined liberty before the season started. Championships should not be decided the free throw line yet.
No, okay. Brianna Stewart didn't play like a dominant elite star player. Neither did Sabrina. 1 for 19. Both teams horrible. 30% from the floor, 36% from the floor. It was a brutal game to watch. Let's see who gets fired first, Sides or Dinglebert.
My problem with Caitlin Clark betting on her getting the MVP is the coach. I think the coach obviously decreases her chances of getting the MVP award next year. If they get a good coach, boy, I might put money on her.
Oh yeah,
especially if they pick up a good free agent, because even because they're going to get more wins, so that's going to help her MVP vote. Even though I think that gets overrated sometimes, because it's like really how many wins you contribute. So, Sandy
Sides. I say Sides gets fired first.
I would give my left nut for Coach Reeve as coach of the Fever.
So Vadim, actually, a story. My friend who worked for Fox Baseball, he says actually that's what Alex Rodriguez. He's a clean freak. He's the one who clogs up the toilet in the RV trailer. My friend was telling me it's a true story. He worked for Fox. So yeah, he clogged up the RV toilet. He's such a clean.
I'm going to argue this point because I'm the pit bull. No, what I'm saying is during that argument, Rob was coming back just as strongly as I was in that discussion. That's all I'm saying. You have to get ESPN Plus to watch the second. What second game is he talking about?
That football kickoff.
ESPN will push Collier early on. Yeah, because she's black, but she's not a lesbian.
Yeah,
So
I
don't know what Asia Wilson seems very ambiguous about her sexuality. I heard she had a boyfriend before, but she seems after that she doesn't seem to have anyone. So yeah, Collier's she's married with a couple kids, right? Or married.
I think so. Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. That so was Candace Parker when she entered the league, got married and had a kid, and now she's in a relationship with a woman.
Well,
Sue Bird came across the street when she entered the league too.
Well, Mark, I'll tell you a personal thing. Same thing with my niece. So I have two grandnephews, but then she divorced her husband. Now she's on the other side, as they say.
My brother pretended he was straight the whole year, his whole life. I always thought he was gay. He came out as gay when he was like age 56. My eldest brother.
But you already knew, right?
I didn't know. How do you call your brother gay when you don't know he's having any sex with any men? You just think he's gay.
Oh, you just thought he was, but you didn't really have any.
Well, we suspected he was. He denied he was, and he didn't have any relationships with men that we know of. So how could we call him gay?
Right.
He didn't have any relationship with women either, but he was just a nerd. So it's hard to classify him because he was.
Oh, yeah. When you're a nerd, you don't really know.
My eldest brother's a super intellectual nerd. Okay. Like his LSAT was, was like 1580 or something like that.
Whoa.
He got into NYU. He turned down Columbia Law School. He graduated cum laude. It's like his LSAT was 0.1%.
Wow.
I mean, he was a genius.
Yeah.
In those sense. But now he's living with a guy.
Yeah, looking at the box score last night, it was obvious the refs were influencing the game pretty hard. I don't know about that, Top Gun. The teams couldn't hit. They couldn't shoot. I don't know if the referees had too much of influence, but they couldn't. Both teams couldn't shoot the ball. They were horrible. Okay. The referees didn't have any influence on that.
All right, so wait a minute. Bobby says, now I've heard it all. Rob is argumentative as Mark. That's not what I said. I said in that discussion, he was just as argumentative as I was, and he wasn't backing down. That's not what I said. So you twisted what I said around. All right. So anyways, Clark is more valuable. I'm just saying, ladies like the VD.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Laura. That was the worst championship game I ever watched. It was.
She expends more energy in the offensive than anyone else in the league. I don't care so much about her defense. Well, defense is 40% of the game. I think it's around 40% of the game. So if you're going to call her the MVP, and of your 40%, it's below average, that's not good. You got to get it up to average at least. That's what I'm saying. I think she needs to improve our defense. She wants to be the best player in the league. And I get the fact that she spends so much energy on the offense because she runs a up-tempo offense and she dribbles the ball and has the ball in her hands a lot. I get that. I've made that argument the whole time. I don't think she'll ever be Michael Jordan on defense because Michael Jordan wasn't a point guard except for 1 year in his league, right? 1 year he played point guard. He didn't like it.
No, he wasn't a point guard.
Well, he played it 1 year, but he didn't like it.
Who do you think has more say in projected players for Fever, Sides or CC? Hopefully not. Like, I agree with you, Vadim. Hopefully not Sides. That's for sure.
Who gets fired first, Sides or Dinglebert? I don't know. I don't think Dinglebert's going anywhere. I think they like her for some reason.
Yeah, Vadim, my fantasy team is. I did good last week, not this week. I got my butt kicked. I'm still in second place though, in one league.
Bobby, that's what I said. I said she needs to be at least an average. I'm not Bobby. That's what I just said. I said she needs to be at least an average defender. And I agree with you. She doesn't have to be a great defender. That's not what my argument is. My argument is she needs to really improve around ball defense because it's costing their team points. Sabrina played terrible.
My players were good. It's just that the other guy had.
She said, yeah, I think people are really going into Sabrina for not coming up playing very well in the series. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole series. I just watched the fourth quarters of the games. I was not impressed with Sabrina Ionescu. There's no way I watch her play and say she's a better player than Caitlin Clark, that she got screwed by not being first team All-Pro. Maybe you could say she's better than Alyssa Thomas. I don't know, but you can't say she's better than Caitlin Clark or as good as Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, Vadim, I had one player that didn't get any. Dell didn't do anything. That hurt me on my one league. Let's see. What do we think about?
As bad as Kobe Bryant was in Game 7 against the Celtics, Sabrina would have had to have hit her next 5 shots in a row just to equal him. Okay.
Yeah, Top Gun. I hope they do. They should. They should boycott the game. I agree. I agree with you. They should. I hope they do boycott it. Come on. You can't have guys playing the women's league.
Would you date who? Would you date her? Who is he talking about?
Asia, probably.
Who?
Maybe Asia. I think he's talking about her, yeah.
I don't find her attractive. That's my type.
Leroy, yeah. I mean, yeah, this was, I mean, as far as finals go, 28%. That's
Collier is attractive because she has such a cute, soft demeanor to her face. You know what I mean? Yeah. Collier. She has that really warm face that's just, and it's cute. You know, that's just me. Who's Bam? Oh, she's dating. Is that who's Bam? A rapper or something?
Bam for Miami, the center for Miami.
Oh, he's rating. Yeah. Is she baiting him? Okay. Yeah. I didn't say she was lesbian. I said, I know she had a boyfriend before that too, supposedly. Okay. Is she baiting? I heard she was hanging out with her and it wasn't clear whether they were dating, but I don't care.
Actually, Jim, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. Her on the ball, she gets taken off the dribble real easy. She doesn't slide her feet. She doesn't bend her knees, so she gets beat. I think just the opposite. Her off the ball defense is better than that.
Her off the ball defense is pretty decent.
Yeah, but
on the ball, too much on off the ball defense, and then like she's not there for the 3-point shot. I don't think Caitlin Clark is already the best player in the league. I think where she got in the MVP voting and the voting for the WNBA is exactly where she belongs. Do you see the defense that Breanna Stewart and Collier played during the playoffs? Yeah, that defense was another level above Caitlin Clark by a large margin. The type of defense they played.
Yeah.
And they're still both very good offensively and get rebounds and stuff like that. So I don't think she's the best player in the league, and I love her.
All right. Oh, Monday Night Football's on. All right,
2
y'all.
minutes. On 2 minutes. Anybody want to donate to this channel? There's super chats and super things down below. Rob, what about next Monday? You going to be here?
Nope. I just
you got to work next Monday already? You already got your schedule?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I get my schedule ready.
College boycotting the SSU.
Yeah, they should. You got to read up on that.
Deborah says Clark will improve on defense when they get a better. I agree. I don't think she's a defensive specialist. I think she's clueless about defense. That's why the team sucks in defense. Engelbert's all but gone. I don't know about that.
Yes, she is, Leroy. That's Leroy. She's the best guard in the league.
Yeah, Sabrina, they shot 28%. Asia lives the free throw line because she always gets the calls. We found that against the Aces. Yeah, on ball defense, that's not true. She doesn't have good on defense. That's false.
Yeah, he's still delayed. He's delayed. Vadim, yeah, he's delayed a little.
All right, you guys are overrating Caitlin Clark. Okay, Bobby. I'm sorry if I misunderstood you. I'm just trying to go through the comments quickly. I apologize, Bobby.
Yeah,
Mark, Stewie and Sabrina always have sour faces like they're pooped in their pants. Yeah, I agree with you. I like watching Collier play. I'm a fan of hers. There's just no question. That's why they chose her on 60 Minutes. They didn't want sourpuss Asia Wilson always talking about race and stuff like that.
I got down that.
Let me turn on the TV because.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go, Mark. It's time to eat. It's time to play that football. Thank you, guys. I'm glad I could make it tonight. You guys are awesome. Really, I appreciate the
I agree. Caitlin Clark is the best guard in the league. The 3 people I had ranked ahead of her are not guards.
Yeah, I appreciate the chats and the comments, and thanks for everything
What
else.
game's on? Baltimore's on ESPN at 8:15, right?
Yeah, take care, you guys. Van Diem, you guys take care. Keep it going. We'll keep watching the channel. Keep contributing. We love hearing from you. At least I do. It's great. Keep it going.
Next Monday you can't make it, Rob?
No. So you have to put the IA Rob in for me with the 6 fingers.
I'm on ESPN now.
You have a good night, Basil.
Oh, perfect for the kickoff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
okay. Anyways, hang on. Let me just say. I
Don't
agree,
forget-
Caitlin Clark.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Keep people.
You can't. They can't make comments without subscribing. I programmed it that way. They give you choice.
Okay, Cutie, you can replace me.
Someone's going to replace you?
Cutie71 says.
We're overrating Caitlin Clark. If you think Caitlin Clark is the best player in the league, yes, you're overrating Caitlin Clark. She's the best offensive player in the league. She's the best guard in the league, and she is number 4 in the league, in my opinion. I think the voters got it right. But I think she could be the best player in the league next year. That's how good she is, and that's how much she improved the second half of the year.
MVP.
It's going to be between her and Collier, I think.
I think so. All right, man. You guys take care, all right?
Yeah. All right.
All right, Mark. We'll see. That's right. I got Tampa Bay. You got Baltimore.
You can go. I just want to see the last comments. You can go if you want.
Okay. All right. Later.
Tampa Bay as the ball.
Guys. Peace out. Keep it going. Go Dodgers.
Okay. So we're grossly underrating Caitlin Clark. All right.
Story. He comes from the McVay coaching tree. Rashad White kind of got this 3-headed monster going.
Disagree with him on his football list with Edge. No, Rob. Okay. It isn't that I flipped out that you disagree with me. You said the list is no good, mainly because Edgerrin James wasn't on the list. That's silly. There's a bunch of running backs that I could make. Obviously, I did. That make better running backs than him. I'm saying when it's so close, you can't say someone chooses something that you don't like and say the list sucks. In that case, every list I see sucks. You're not balanced with your comments, Basil. That's what your problem is. Anyways, it was the way you said it. Qt is going to replace Rob.
I don't think the Ravens were set. No, they weren't, Joe. They're trying to get lined up. He's trying to work over to get with Rashad White, and it just never gets situated.
We want to talk about Kelsey Plum.
What the formation was and who's got who, and this has been a consistent theme throughout the first part of this season that they've just not been able to communicate as well as they did a year ago.
You think AJ is going to be unanimous MVP again next year? Who is my number 1 pick? It's Caitlin Clark. But that doesn't mean she's the best player right now. She's going to be the best player is the difference. Those are 2 different arguments. QT Clark is top 15. Okay, if Caitlin Clark had a better coach, she would have had a better season. But I can only interpret that so much. That doesn't excuse her defense at times. Some of the defense, yes, because a better coach would make her play better defense. But some of the defense is on her.
So it's 3rd down again. Cohen is bounced back and forth. He's been with the Rams and went to Kentucky as the offensive coordinator, then back to the Rams and back to Kentucky. And he said, I figured it out. That you don't really go home again. I've been there, done it. I was ready for the next challenge, and now he's calling the offense, doing a tremendous job of the ball. He is.
All right, whatever, Bayless. You said the list sucks just because I didn't have Edgerrin James on it. Maybe I think he's 26th, you know? Tell me who do you want me to take off the list for him to make you happy?
There's no doubt. And that's exactly what Todd Bowles said to Liam Cohen that, hey, we've got 2 downs to pick this
Yes.
up.
Asia Wilson is unlikable. Cute, you serious about top 15 or is that a joke? I'll have to look at my notes where I had Edgerrin James. He was on my list, but he didn't make the top 25. What is the best sports commentary about it?
As he comes across on the fly sweep, and a nice pickup to keep this drive alive. First career rush attempts for Jalen McMillan.
All right, the Buccaneers are driving. What is the best sports documentary of all time? I don't know. I really never thought about that. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Walter Payton was a beast on terrible teams. I'll have to find my notes and see where I had Edgerrin James on, but he didn't make. I think he was on my honorable mention, honestly. Let me look at my video. Hang on a second.
Baker Mayfield brings it out perfectly against that coverage, and a wide open Mike Evans. You were going to circle before the play, weren't you? I was. Yeah, I should have. Seven to nothing, Tampa Bay on top. They'll take a look at Mike Evans' 100 career touchdown catches. They brought it back as it is.
It's game day. Let's get them up. Hey, Google, turn on the Heisman House. Hey, Google, turn on the rookie alarm. Rise and shine. Whoa, nobody sleeps in on game day.
My husband was patrol officer Chase Lee Maddox. To this day, he's
All right.
the first and only officer killed in Lucas Square, Georgia. My husband always said that the good outweighs the bad, and Bolt's Honor Scholarship is a very accurate
Anyway.
representation of that statement. It just shows that their sacrifice.
Best quarterbacks of all time? No, the Dan Marino and John Elway fans would not like my list. You will not like my list if you're Dan Marino or Don. So Namath and Marino. Namath. He had a couple great years, and that was it.
On game days, you show up loud, but only 66% of voters showed up to the.
I would say I like The Last Dance, but I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan.
And all we have to do is vote.
The only active player with 100 career touchdown catches.
Okay, so I have a video called The Top 25 Quarterbacks of All Time. You can find it on Ultimate Rankings on YouTube. I have John Elway as 11th, and Troy Aikman is, I think, about 15th. I think John Elway's overrated. If you look at his stats, he's overrated. He's very inconsistent. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, I didn't rate at the time.
By getting Sterling Shepard through the defense, and even without a great throw, Evans was so wide open. Maybe not a great throw, but well timed. He lit that flag before Evans turned around, and there it was, no question.
That was a good drive by the Buccaneers. So we'll see what happens, how Baltimore responds. You would take, yeah, I think I have Jamarl Charles around 11th. All right, well, let me look up Edgerrin James. I doubt I didn't consider him. You picked Tampa Bay over Baltimore? So did Rob. I picked Baltimore. But all right, let me look at Edgerrin James just to make you happy. His stats.
Like the guy who just carried it, Derrick Henry. He is a fourth quarter closer. Derrick Henry leads the NFL in rush yards per game and rushing touchdowns. Zay Flowers is really blossoming as the main target for Lamar Jackson. And just a ton of points for Todd Monken's offense during this 4-game win streak. You know, they were doing a lot of good things with Greg Roman as the offensive coordinator, their ability to run the football. Lamar obviously was driving. But when Todd Monken came in last year, changed enough things. They got better at the wide receiver position, and it has been good for Lamar. How about that fake? Lamar did not hand it to Zay Flowers. Takes it up the gut, gets 11. Todd Bowles is the play caller for this defense. Vita Vea, our producer Steve Ackles was all over this during the course of the week. He just strained his hamstring toward the end of the week, but he's good to go.
Edgerrin James averaged 4 yards a carry for his career. That's average for a running back between 1939 and, say, 2022. And it's below average for running backs after 2023. That average in the league was like 4.2. So I don't understand why you think he's a great running back. Sorry. I stand by not putting him on my list. He averages 4.0 yards a carry.
KJ Britt came away with it. Elijah Cansey made the stop.
Yeah, well, I mean, Emmitt Smith had the most yards forever. I only got him 7th. That doesn't impress me.
And this is the whole key. And when you watch Tampa Bay play, they come after you. In fact, in talking with Todd Monken, when I said, what impresses you about Tampa's defense, he said, the defensive backs and corners, when they see edge run or the quick wide receiver screens, they don't waste any time in hitting it. And Thunderbird, who only played 1 snap before last week, does a great job. Lex Jackson sacked by Diaby.
Even at his peak, Edgerrin James never averaged more than 4.6 yards per carry. Even at his peak, that was like his best year. He was a volume rusher. Yeah, I don't like his yards per carry. Sorry.
defense. David was there. Lakefield didn't bring him down. Under Tom Bowles, this is the most aggressive blitzing team in the NFL during his 3 years as head coach. And a punt from Jordan Stout. Over the head of Palmer and into the end zone. 57-yard punt.
I mean, Jamel Charles averaged 5.4 yards per carry. You can't be serious. All right, whatever. Sorry.
I'm your football obsessed best man. All eyes are on you. My eyes are glued to the game.
Yeah, I know L. Davis somehow, like Marcus Allen. I probably should have Marcus Allen higher than I have him because he had a lot of touchdowns. Well, I mean, but Jamel Charles averaged 5.4 yards a carry. It's like way, way more. He didn't have long runs. Okay, well, see, long runs are good because that really sets things up for the offense. Big plays are important in football like that. So, anyways, my research is flawed. Well, my research is different than yours. That doesn't make it flawed. Maybe your research is flawed. Maybe I just value things differently than you.
President Trump is for you. I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
In 2018, I voted for Bob Casey. I come from
Anyways, you're entitled to your opinion, as wrong as it is.
I'm switching to Dave McCormick.
I'm voting for Dave McCormick. It's time for a change.
We are worse off today than we were 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Washington and the White House does not care about Pennsylvania at all right now.
The border is wide open. Bob Casey is not looking out for my sons.
I come from a family of Democrats. Now we're voting for Dave McCormick. I'm Dave McCormick, and I approve.
Anyways, I'm going to watch the game, Baltimore and Tampa Bay. So I'm going to end this thread. I like to joke with bailiffs because he's so wrong so often. You just like to disagree. You got like a little psychological thing going on. I don't want to evaluate you too much. My dad's a psychologist. I can tell you what it is. Anyway, all right. So see you next Monday. We'll have a video out tomorrow. Everybody have a good time. Hopefully, I'm glad Rob was here tonight. Mark and Rob's sports show now was a showdown for once. And then you said I was too much of a pit bull when we finally had a discussion. Such an ass. All right, we'll end on that.